Anyway, we've already blasted off, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to rip. The Macy's, you got a playlist already for me, goddamn. Dude, this is a well-oiled machine, all right? You understand? I wouldn't be able to do none of this without you guys, obviously, but we're going to talk about President Donald Trump signing an order declassifying the MLK and JFK files. What this means, what's going on. We're going to talk about the drama between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Elon Musk apparently is furious, or Trump staff is furious, after Musk criticized the AI project, with one ally saying it's clear he has abused the proximity that he has to the president. And I would say that the fallout is slated to begin. Let's hit the Combini. Fuck this politics shit. Oh, don't worry. We'll hit the Combini after this. March, also, reminder, send me what we're supposed to be doing today so I know what we're going to do when you figure it out. Plans on a gambling stream now that you're outside the U.S.? Yeah. Oh, these things are so juicy. Oh, fuck. Damn it. AGI is dangerous, a seriously huge topic. Where are you going, Mike? Microphone's leaving me. Trump staff furious after Musk trashes AI project. It's because Musk is working for the Chinese and he wants that Chinese AI to be dominant. That's why. All right, let's get it. Let's get it started, baby. Trump adds to a flurry of new executive orders. Get that famichki. Don't worry. I'm going to do all of that. I'm going to do all of that and more. Okay? I'm going to do all of that and more. Trust. Okay? Day 3 of the Burger Reich. What has day 3 of the Burger Reich brought us? Something not so bad if it actually is followed through. Did not expect to hear your audio on NPR today about the Musk salute. Wait, no way. NPR posted me? That's crazy. Yeah, I know about the Phase Boys as well. Don't worry, we're going to do that. But let's get started with this.
Very important in just about every case. And it will go through the first one, please.
Do you want to?
Yeah, Mr. President, this is an executive order on crypto. We're going to be. Oh, sorry, we're doing AI first. Sorry, Mr. President, this is an executive order on AI. We're basically announcing the administration's policy to make America the world capital in artificial intelligence and to dominate and to.
Bro, this is directly because I feel like China was like, hey, we have our own AI. Also, it's free to use. Also, it's much cheaper. Okay? And I feel like now they're just like, okay, we got to dump as much money as possible. The Chinese AI is called what? DeepSeek or something, right? Isn't that what it is? R1 as opposed to the OpenAI O1 that we have here, DeepSeek. And I think it's frustrated a lot of Americans that China just kind of came in and was like, we're actually going to be dominant in this field and we're going to give it away for free so that America can't monopolize AI or the future of AI technology. And also open sourcing AI in general, is probably beneficial to improve the product because the more you use it, the more you train it. And I think that is supposed to be the future of information anyway. It's supposed to be free to use for all to use, really. And the fact that like Americans are looking for a way to put an enclosure around that sort of thing is expected. It's very Burger Reich. And yeah, I don't know how they would even try to stop it, but we'll see. Elon is doubling, tripling down on the Nazi jokes. I know. I should probably write this in the title about what I'm going to be talking about. Elon Nazi double down. AI wars with China. Trump declassify MLK FK files. All right, most liberals I know hate AI and want to eradicate it completely. I mean, I'm of two different minds on AI. On the one hand, I believe that artificial intelligence is nowhere near as good as the way that people claim it is right now. On the other hand, I also understand that AI and any sort of technological developments is going to be a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing. It's a tool, right? It's no different than like Photoshop, right? Which ironically also uses AI to a certain degree. Having said that, however, as all tools of efficiency under a capitalist organization of the economy are used, AI will also be certainly used to, one, greatly improve the surveillance technology that's out there, which I'm going to be talking about as well. I tweeted about it last night. And two, and perhaps more importantly, AI, not only in the interim, but just in perpetuity, will be utilized as a way to displace the existing labor force. All mechanisms of technological efficiency are inevitably used to displace the existing labor force. It's not used to make the labor force more productive and then therefore give them an opportunity to work less for the same pay or even more pay, right? It's used to fire the people that were doing the job and then forcing one person to do the job of 10. There's also the other dangerous side of AI, which is that it's contributing to the climate collapse, right? It's incredibly inefficient in terms of its energy consumption, and that also is not great, especially when you consider how imaginably cooked the planet is, both literally and figuratively. So I am not a Luddite, although I do have some Luddite tendencies. I would not consider myself a Luddite. I believe in technology. I love technology. I want technological improvements. Okay, I want it. Having said that, however, you know, it's hard to look at the people that control the stuff and assume that they are not evil demons, and assume it's hard to look at the people that control the stuff and assume that they're going to use it for good. Okay, 2024, hottest year on record. Yeah, and 2025 will be even hotter. Every single day in 2024 is the hottest day on record. Was hotter than the year prior, or hotter than the day prior. Sorry. Yeah. So let's continue.
World in AI.
Do you want to say your name, your full name?
David
and
Sachs,
serial?
AI and Crypto Czar.
David is one of the greatest.
David Sachs is the guy. He made the AI. Oh my! I'm done. This is why I call it the Burger Reich, chatters. This is why. I'm not like the most well-versed on like the minutia of Nazi history, but I wonder if there were like Germans at the time who were looking at like Hitler's hand-selected crew and going, that guy's autistic, that guy's gay, every single one of them are on meth. What the fuck are we doing? These guys can't actually run the country at all. Like the fact that we have David Sachs running anything, like the fact that he has any proximity to power is insane to me, okay? It's actually insane. And I think it shows how deeply unserious this government is, okay? Once again, showing why I call it the Burger Reich, okay? This is why I say it's the Burger Reich. It's Reich, it's Hitler, but with burger. Oh my Lord. Howard Lutnick from Tether is going to be the Secretary of Commerce. Him having a podcast geek as an advisor is nothing in comparison. I mean, we also have Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense officially as of today. So that's like, what am I talking about? Of course, David Sachs is going to be the crypto czar. You know what I mean? Pete Hegseth is the department. He is going to head the Department of Defense. Okay. It's, first ever DUI hire.
The world of AI, most respected probably there is.
Yeah, no, totally. Everyone respects David Sachs.
So that should take us to the forefront, right?
Absolutely. We got to win.
Okay.
All right, that's it, dude. I'm staying here. I'm staying here, dude. It's funny because like this country, the United States of America, wrote the constitution of the country that I'm in, Japan, and also uses it like as a vassal state. So there's no escaping America, ironically enough. But, you know, maybe I can just LARP as though this is a world that is not tarnished by the Burger Reich, if you will. God damn, dude. What a stupid design. What a stupid society we live in. I can't get over this David Sachs. Oh my God. You are within nuclear range.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the Crypto EO. We're going to be forming an internal working group to make America the world capital in crypto under your leadership.
Which is really going up, right?
Absolutely.
I gotta get a coffee. I gotta make a coffee. 1 second. Right. Clown show. America's gonna be the cryptocurrency capital. This guy's gonna change the legal tender, bro. We're gonna do Trump coin. Trump coin is the new legal tender.
They might not be excited, but they're going to make a lot of money for the country. And so is David. You have to check him out. There's nobody like this guy. They said, how did you get David Sachs? How did you do that? And he's doing it for the country more than anything else. So we appreciate it, David. Thank you very much.
This is an executive order establishing a presidential commission, an advisory commission on science and technology.
Good. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
The basic idea is to get together top people from government, the private sector, technology industry, as well as educational institutions to make sure that America maintains its leadership position with respect to science and technology development in the years ahead.
Good.
I was going to not do that. Oh, no.
Next
Now
year,
that
we
the
have a
executive order
presidential
came in,
memo encouraging departments and agencies in your government, including the Department of the Interior.
What do you mean? Shit, I was just about to not respect American technological innovation, and now that the executive order came in, I'm like, damn, no! What a brilliant executive order, sir. Thank you so much.
To promote federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina.
I love the Lumbee tribe. So this is their first big step, right?
This would be a huge step for them.
Yeah, they were with me all the way. They were
I brought my
great.
creatine
North Carolina.
and my
Lumbee
supplements.
tribe. Okay, we'll send.
Bro loves signing, dude. He is a child. He really is a child. He gets to have his big Sharpie and sign those big ass signatures. Like, that's what he's in it for. We know he's like a kid. We're playing make believe. Oh my God. I can't believe every time I see Trump do anything, really, immediately I'm like, how do we get here? How stupid, how much dumber can we get? And then last but not least, God damn the Democratic Party for losing to this twice. Like, those are the only thoughts in my mind anytime I see this baboon, okay? Anytime I see this baboon, I'm like, he is such an awful, repulsive, violent person. And yet the Democrats lost to this. The Democrats lost to this, and it is, God damn it, dude. God damn America, that's in the Bible. That's what I think every time I experience Donald Trump. Yeah, thank you, Barack Obama. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for helping us lose to this guy. Anyway.
Copy of that?
Yes, sir.
They were great. Okay?
And if you'd like, I could get them that pen, sir, as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
Next, we have a set of pardons for peaceful pro-life protesters who were prosecuted by the Biden administration for exercising their First Amendment rights.
Do you know how many?
I believe it's 23, sir.
Wait,
23 people.
there ain't no way. Bro, is he doing one for the 3,100 college campus protesters that was arrested? Is he gonna do that for them too? Fuck no, of course not. Let me tell you something, okay? If you are a pro-life protester that got arrested, there ain't no way you were being peaceful. He doesn't know what he's signing. Of course he doesn't know what he's signing. He's a moron. What makes you think this man has any kind of mental bandwidth? I don't think people understand. I think being stupid is a benefit in this situation. Okay? And you don't have to be like particularly brilliant, because the Democrats present themselves as brilliant, but they're also not very intelligent either, and they're annoying. They're annoying, they're rudderless, they have no policies that you can define them by. They just suck. At least this guy has some policies you can define him by. They're just bad. They're bad and violent policies. But people seemingly like it, okay? He's like, oh yeah, what am I signing? How many brave warriors? How many brave warriors? Who gives him the orders to sign? No, this is like all political. He has a team of advisors that get together and they're like, here are some of the impactful executive orders that you can sign that will trigger the libs, that will make you show what your priorities are. They'll help people understand like who you are. Okay? It's interesting because it's like, it's interesting to think because it's like, everybody knows who he is, right? But the goal here is to basically show that, if you're my guys, if you do these sorts of things, I'll free you, right? If you physically block a Planned Parenthood clinic, if you physically block, like, I don't know, teenagers going in to get their pap smear or whatever, or teenagers trying to get an abortion, if you physically and violently block them from entering a Planned Parenthood, and get arrested for it because it's obviously illegal, I'll free you. These are the people he pardoned. Donald Trump pardoned there it is. Yeah. Anti-abortion activists convicted of blockading abortion clinic entrances. Among the people pardoned were those involved in the October 2020 invasion and a blockade of a Washington clinic. Any day now, the egg prices are coming down, chat. Any day, okay? I promise. Any moment now, he's going to sign another one that says, like, egg prices are going down, and then pee-pee poof, eggs are free, okay? Any day now. Oh, that's right. He ain't doing none of that shit. All he's doing is, you know, getting backed up by the fucking corporate oligarchs in the same exact way the Democrats did as well when he railed against them, ironically enough, and do a whole bunch of phony culture war silliness in the way that he's doing right now. This is it. This is what you get. This is what happened in 2016 as well. The impactful legislation is going to come when it comes to greatly accelerating our wars, okay? And you know, even further undermining our standing on the international stage, even though Biden certainly pulled a number on that, didn't he? He's also going to you know, do deregulation and tax cuts, and that's it. That's what he's here for.
Were prosecuted. They should not have been prosecuted.
Wait, someone said he's not going to declassify the Epstein files. Chatter, what are you talking about? America never declassified stuff while it's ongoing, okay? Why would he declassify the Epstein files? Half of his cabinet is like Epstein aligned people. Look at Elon Musk. Like, also he is in the Epstein files. Like, why would he? Trump is like, oh, oops, accidentally declassify the Epstein files. Shows right here that Jeffrey Epstein, my friend at the time, used Mar-a-Lago as a hunting ground to find new high school victims. Oopsie. I guess that's the funniest thing is just like people, you know, people that are Trump supporters that are like, yeah, I hate Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, brother, you know, you love the guy that he was aligned with. Like, and I'll say something. I'll be fair to Trump here. Donald Trump, by my estimations, at least personally, stopped involving himself with Jeffrey Epstein far before the Democratic elite did. Okay, that's a fact. You cannot dispute that. Okay, he was linked up with Epstein back in the day, and he absolutely severed ties way before the Dems did. Okay, well, way before a lot of Republicans too. But I'm saying like some very high profile Democrats were very openly aligned with Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein associates. So something to consider there. Okay. Clinton. Ghislaine Maxwell had center stage at Chelsea Clinton's wedding, chat. Like, come on. Now, having said that, I mean, also Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister, because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein may or may not have been a CIA and Mossad asset simultaneously. Who else can I think of that's simultaneously a CIA asset and a Mossad asset? Maybe a guy from Philadelphia? Benjamin? Oh, that's right, Benjamin Netanyahu. Anyway, but that's besides the point. I'm just talking about a bunch of different things here that are totally and utterly irrelevant. How do we get to Jeffrey Epstein? Let's get back to Donald Trump. He's signing stuff. Look at him. He's so giddy. He's such a giddy little boy signing these big papers. He loves it.
Elderly people, they should not have been prosecuted. This is a great honor to sign this. They'll be very happy. So they're all in prison now.
Some are out of custody.
It's ridiculous. Okay?
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades, and everything will be revealed. Okay?
I just realized that one of the benefits of being in Japan is anytime I get pissed off, upset, angry, mad at the world, I can just get up and look outside and be like, well, at least I'm in Tokyo. You know what I mean? That's a W, right? The marker noises. It's so funny. I love the marker noises. The JFK files and the MLK files are a big deal. It's not a little deal. It's a big deal. I don't know what they actually will end up declassifying. I doubt that it's like everything. It's probably going to be censored to oblivion, but a lot of investigative reporters will get a lot of decent stuff out of that, I suspect. That's what I think. Like, there's no way that there's like the damning silver bullet in there. You know what I mean? They're not gonna We revealed the JFK files. It was George H.W. Bush that assassinated him. Like, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? If that was the case, I would lose my mind. Him declassifying is boosting the podcast economy. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Donald Trump is the most podcast focused president of all time. And you're right. He's literally doing this to help the podcast economy. Oh my God. Why didn't I think of that? He's such a podcast bro, dude. I mean, he got podcasters all over his administration. He got podcasts up and down his administration. Crazy.
Okay. Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Mr. President, a U.S. judge temporarily blocks the birthright citizenship order. Do you have any reaction?
No, obviously we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge.
Dude, what are you talking about? That is literally one of the most unconstitutional things you've signed as an executive order out of all of the insane things that you've signed. That, of course, is going to be like any judge on the planet who isn't like a complete charlatan is going to be like, yeah, no shit. This is the easiest gimme of all time. Of course, a judge is going to strike it down. It's not at this point. We go back to the same dynamic that we exhibited in the church story that happened yesterday, right? It's like, it's the same principle over and over again for right-wing reactionaries. It's like, you're either doing the bidding of the worst right-wing people you've ever seen, or you're woke, okay? Everyone's woke. It could be a Reagan-appointed judge, still woke, okay? If you are actually holding the letter of the law, if you're actually doing what you are supposed to be doing in theory as a judge, which is adjudicate, which is actually look at like the constitutionality of certain executive orders such as this one and stop it, then you're woke. There's only two speeds, okay? Whatever Trump wants, whatever the most right-wing shit is, or politics, or political, or woke as a substitute. You know, a judge has temporarily blocked President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. Judge Kohenor, a Reagan appointee, said, I've been on the bench for over 4 decades. I can't remember another case where the question presented it as clear as this one. This is a blatantly unconstitutional order. He's right. Okay? He's right. Uh-oh. We're back. In and out, baby. In and out. We're back. That was quick. They got me. The woke mob came after me, Chad. The woke mob came after me. Anyway, what was I saying? So my point was, I am not a believer that the Constitution is even worth the paper that it's printed on. Okay. I think that Americans basically treat it like it's religious texture. Okay. They treat it like it's religious scripture. But of course, much like religious scripture, they refuse to abide by the standards set forth, okay? And oftentimes interpret it in whatever ways they see fit, whatever ways that they believe helps their political goals. This is just the case, right? This is just how it is. Having said that, if there are any like, you know, old school judges out there or anyone that like truly does believe the constitutional guidelines, then yeah, they're supposed to look at this and go, this is the most insane thing you've ever demanded. Because it is directly in violation. It is the most, I cannot think of another order that is this overtly unconstitutional. Like straight up, this is not like Republicans back in the day used to do this thing where they would go back and find like some kind of judicial order from like 1793 and be like, well, women are not allowed to wear pants on Sundays, so that's why we have to prosecute Hillary Clinton and put her in jail or whatever, right? Like they used to at the very least like try to make it seem like there was some sort of like legal reason for why they're behaving this way. This right here is just straight up like, that's it. You're just saying like fuck the Constitution, which I don't even disagree with you on that, right? Because I think the constitutional interpretation, like the adherence that conservative judges have to like the actual text is a falsehood. Okay, it's just bullshit. They want to push a reactionary agenda and they add an intellectual patina to it to try to make it seem like that's the case, right? It's completely made up. The originalist interpretation is just ridiculous, right? So having said that, this goes beyond that. Like, this literally goes beyond that. It goes above and beyond. And even though if there was, for example, no argument about like if the Constitution actually, the Second Amendment actually literally said like, and it wasn't a new interpretation, if the Constitution actually said like every American has to have a nuclear weapon or nuclear arms, or just every American must bear arms, right? I would say that's a bad amendment. We need to change it. Like, there's a bad rule. Change it. That's ridiculous. Like, I'm not married to the idea that the Constitution is this like infallible legal document. It's the greatest legal document that's ever existed, right? But having said that, there are some good stuff in there. This would be one of those things, right? Allowing every single person born on U.S. soil immediate American citizenship is pretty solid. It's a good thing. It's kind of kept this country going for quite a bit. It's the reason why I am an American citizen, literally. So like, there is an air of, I mean, this is like something that I also, weirdly enough, find personally offensive as well. But I don't want to speak about it too much, because then the conservatives are going to be like, this guy, okay, well, maybe it's good that Trump is actually taking this away, you know? But it is one of the best American principles. America's built on immigrants. Like, anyway, it's just very, very frustrating to see stupid stuff like this go on. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like, it's both violent and morally repugnant, but there's also an air of stupidity surrounding everything that makes it worse, kind of. Like, these aren't brilliant people. These are not like really intelligent and really morally repugnant people that are creating sophisticated narratives. It's very simple. It's like, what you see is what you get. I'm going to lie to you about certain things over and over and over again, and then until you believe it. And I can only get away with this because there's no counterbalance. There's no mechanism of pushback. And then eventually, once we've completely destroyed what the truth is, then I'm going to move on and just bludgeon my way into enacting this like ridiculous agenda. I feel like perhaps this is a case of, social circles and misinformation online with no real ways of combating said misinformation. Perhaps it's more complicated than that, because like Americans are just getting dumber and dumber year over year. But like, we've basically gotten to a point where you can have a guy like Elon Musk sig heil on the most prominent stage on the planet, and you got tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people around the world going, nah, he's not doing that. Come on, dude. Come on. That's crazy. He's not. Okay, dude, what's next? You're going to tell me a South African apartheid guy is racist, even though he says racist stuff all the time? Come on. So, okay. Yeah, sure. Don't believe your lying eyes is the modus operandi going forward.
In Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that, Judge.
Mr. President, Senators Collins and Murkowski have now said they will vote against Pete Hegseth.
It doesn't matter. He's still getting through it. They're just doing PR. Oh my God. Oh my God. My senators, my favorite concerned senators, they said they're against it. Oh my God. Well, guess what? He was going through anyway. It don't matter. Guys, they're concerned. Okay? They're very concerned about Pete Hegseth. They got together and they got very concerned about it. Okay?
Are you worried about his confirmation and your reaction?
No. And no surprises there. It's too bad.
Yeah, even Trump knows. He's like, no surprises. Those bitches.
the way it is, too bad.
And when would you adjourn Congress to make recess appointments, Mr. President?
Well, I'd take a look at that. I'd listen to John Thune. He's doing a fantastic job. We're moving along. The Democrats are trying to delay government, as they always do. They can't help themselves. Even John Ratcliffe, who's very, very strong, very popular, and liked by the Democrats. I guess he gets a lot of Democrat votes. That's taking a long time, and it shouldn't be taking a long time. They're maxing everything out so they can delay everything as much as possible.
Does Senator Flynn support an effort to use recess appointments if you wish to do that?
I'd be willing to use.
My senator just sent me a campaign contribution letter saying they had to vote for Hegseth because I didn't vote hard enough and contribute my yearly $200. Yeah, that's the grossest part about the Democratic tricks. The Democrat tricks is their shameless way, is the shameless way in which they just like demand more from you. They demand more money from you. Like, it's just not, they don't even, they have no, they didn't even skip a beat. They're just like immediately like, one, you should have voted harder. Two, time to vote for me again. And also give me money so we can win this battle next time around. Even though I will offer you nothing and I will yell at you every step of the way for demanding more from me. Fuck yourself. It's not my fault. It's your fault. It's crazy. It's the consultant class version of tithing and the prosperity gospel, I guess. Incredible stuff, man. Truly, truly brilliant, truly incredible stuff.
Recess appointments. It's up to John. We'll see. John Thune's a great guy, great senator, and knows his stuff inside out and backwards. But I would use recess appointments if he wants to do that. Absolutely. The Democrats are just delaying. They always delay.
How was the call?
Right?
These 600
It was
million
great. He's gonna say he's awesome. They have also sex. Like they don't even. It's not him having sex with Vladimir Putin. It's him having sex with Mohammed bin Salman. Dude, calling it again. Saudi Arabia is getting nukes. Whether it's done under a Democratic leadership, which is a little less likely, but still very likely, or under Donald Trump's, mandate, doesn't matter. They're getting nukes, baby. Ain't nobody stopping. Ain't nobody stopping Saudi Arabia getting nukes, okay? 9/11 to Electric Boogaloo, this time with nukes. Nuclear 9/11. Trump is about to do more streaming hours than you do? What does that even mean? I think that it no longer matters what you think or what I think about Saudi Arabia and its like unjustifiable actions in the region or globally. I think that sports washing is the name of the game. Like they're going to be a dominant force on the global stage. That's it. It's especially with Trump now, like, because Brandon still sucked up to the Saudis too, because, OPEC plus, obviously, but never to the same degree as like Donald Trump did. And Donald Trump is going to be far worse on this equation. I mean, he literally came into office. First thing he did was like, all right, the Ansar Allah movement is now officially a foreign sponsor of terror. Like, it's not enough that the Biden administration has slapped on with Operation Prosperity Guardian, the terrorism designation. He elevated that designation once more. And that designation initially came under the Trump administration because Saudi Arabia was genociding Yemen. And he wanted that they came to Trump and were like, hey, can you help us out here? And Trump was like, of course, say no more, fam. I love you. Can you give my son-in-law multiple billions more dollars? It's very open. Like the graft is so open. It's so transparent. So when people say, will you call out fellow streamers who took sponsorships? I see that in the chat. Like, I'm telling you right now, literally everyone is going to do this. I won't do it, but it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, if your expectation is that like, oh, I can't believe people are doing Saudi sponsorships or whatever, it's done. There's no stopping that, okay? Better than CCP, you are the most delusional person on the planet. If you say, Japan has signs that say no tourists allowed, I hate Red Note better than CCP, what? This guy hates Japan and China? Pick one at least, you know what I mean? What do you mean? No, Saudi Arabia is not better than the Communist Party of China. What the hell are you talking about? It's also very funny to be on Twitch, a platform that is dominated by Chinese-owned video games, and being like, oh, I hate that. Like the way I see it with like, the Saudi stuff, like, I'll give another example. Qatar, right? Qatar has a lot of issues, okay? Nowhere near as bad as Saudi Arabia, like not even on the same wavelength, right? But of course, slave labor is a major problem still, which also exists in Saudi Arabia as well. But like Qatar's peace offensive or charm offensive has revolved around having this marquee media company, Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera has played a major role in basically doing what Saudi Arabia is trying to do by force and by simply just pumping a lot of money into the process. But the way states work, the way these sorts of states work is like Like for Qatar, they're a massive place for diplomacy. Like they're considered like a neutral territory for a lot of Middle East diplomacy to happen. They have tremendous amounts of connection with America and specifically Turkey. But also on top of that, they are they've been able to, I guess, quote unquote, elevate their brand with Al Jazeera. These are the types of things that genuinely matter, right? And when I think about that, and I think about all the issues with Qatar, but then I think about Saudi Arabia, I'm like, Saudi Arabia is just like on an entirely different playing field, like overtly against Iran, very obviously openly pro-Israel, has all of the same issues that Qatar has times a million, did a genocide in Yemen. Like it's pretty crazy. And having said that, did 9/11, that was kind of a big deal too, lest I forget. Having said all of that, I think that it's impossible to go against their, especially in the Trump administration. It's done. Like they are going to genuinely, they're going to become a global player that even Western Europeans cannot scoff over. That's what I'm predicting. Yeah, this More Perfect Union video was so good. I watched this video on TikTok in the bathroom of the LAX Star Alliance Lounge. Like I just had it open. I watched a 15-minute video on TikTok. That's how good this video was. We'll get into this in a little bit. It's just like perfectly summarizes all the things that I've talked about for years.
600. I'll ask him for $1 trillion.
You said you can ask for $1 trillion. Will Saudi Arabia do since they invest in that much?
Well, if they do that, I would, yeah. I would be glad to do that. I did it, as you know, 4 years.
One of the princes in Saudi is a massive weeb, so they're not all bad. No, dude, I'm not. Dude, yeah, they're, lest you forget, they're just regular ass dudes as well. Just, you know, sitting atop an unlimited amount of money. Like the sovereign wealth fund for the Saudi kingdom is like $900 billion. Okay. But yeah, they're just like rich motherfuckers. That's it. They're in everything too, is what I'm saying. When you got money, you can be in everything. And the Saudis are also in everything, and they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot of investments. But they get to do it because they're a valuable ally to the United States of America. Do you understand? They're a valuable ally to the United States of America. How was Saudi worse than the CCP when it was responsible for the death of millions? Wait, first of all, that's a chatter who said that, and we all laughed at him. No one, I don't even think Saudi Arabia thinks it's worse than the fucking, Saudi Arabia doesn't even think that they're better than the Chinese Communist Party. What are you talking about? Like, do you think Saudi Arabia will replace Israel? No, absolutely not. You guys don't understand. The West played a formative role in the development of the Saudi kingdom, like a major role, right? Just as it did in virtually every state that the West designed deliberately. Like I'm talking straight up cut the border boundaries of, right? Having said that, Israel is a unique project because its inception is comprised of Westerners. Okay? That's why it's different. Like Israel is ride or die no matter what. The Americans will never trust the Saudis that much. Like partially because of white supremacy, like white supremacist attitudes, and partially because like wasn't that long ago when Saudi Arabia was not necessarily a reliable ally to American interests anyway, right? They, as a matter of fact, played a major role in the American economy collapsing. Again, not that long ago. And 9/11 isn't the, no, don't say 9/11. America doesn't give a shit about 9/11 like that. Come on. 9/11 was so beneficial for the American state. Get out of here. That, if anything, they love Saudi Arabia for doing 9/11. I'm talking about State Department policy that transcends beyond administrations, chat. Like, that's not, like, 9/11 was basically what Pearl Harbor was for FDR, which was a good thing for FDR to like actually join the Allied front. 9/11 was for Dick Cheney and those neocon monsters who were looking for any reason to go and pick apart the entire region, and take all of that sweet nationalized oil in Iraq eventually, as they did, and also simultaneously take out any sort of state actor that was not willing to play ball with American designs in the region, good or bad. Not saying Saddam was a good guy. Same with Assad. You know what I mean? Good or bad, if they weren't fully invested and fully servile to American interests, then they presented a threat to Israel, and therefore, this 9/11 gave them a great opportunity to just, get in there and pack it up to the best of their ability. Anyway, we are maybe clarified to the government of the U.S. Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about Americans. Americans obviously didn't like 9/11. Okay, I'm talking about the American government. The American government was like, oh, thank God something like this happened so we can finally go and dominate this region. Oh my Lord. Finally, some righteous vengeance that we can sell to the population. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Chatters be like, don't you think the American state hates that 9/11 happened? Meanwhile, like, if you ask the average American, they still think Saddam Hussein did it. Isn't that weird? We know the state that played the most formative role in 9/11, and we just ended up attacking all of that state's enemies, kind of. Like, it's just so weird. We didn't touch the state that did it and then decided to go after a bunch of other people that were not a part of the alliance that state had designed, and even added on, mind you, a nation state to the axis of evil that we were relying on for information in combating the actual groups that the state that did 9/11 had infiltrated the region with. All of those, like ISIS, Salafist style, like all the Wahhabist, all the Salafist militias, they're all a Saudi invention for the most part. Okay? Propped up by the Saudis, backed by the Saudis, logistical support by the Saudis. You know who was fighting them? Like it or not, the Shias. Okay? What do? We decided Iran is actually a part of the axis of evil. They were like, wait, hold up. What do you mean? Wait, what? I'm sorry. You said you're going to go after Al-Qaeda, so we're a part of this? North Korea and Iran in the axis of evil.
We did $450 billion, meaning the money all goes to American companies, and they purchase jets and they purchase computers and everything else. And we did $450 billion, and I guess we're at 650. I'll see if I can talk him into it.
Again, you showed great confidence in Steve Witkoff. Why you said that you doubt that the ceasefire in Gaza will hold, since you appraised his
well, no, I think he's
efforts?
great, but it's a very tricky place. It's very tricky. We'll see. And if something does happen, they will not be happy.
In terms of Steve Witkoff, are you going to put him in charge of Iran's strategy, and do you want him talking directly with the Iranians?
No, but he's certainly somebody I would use. He's done a fantastic job. He's a great negotiator. He's a very good person, a very popular person, gets along with people. I have great negotiators.
Steve Witkoff is kind of the GOAT, by the way, for some of the things that he said. I don't trust them. I don't trust the Trump administration as far as I can throw them, but I'll keep it a $150 here. Steve Witkoff came out and was like, one, the Qataris are incredible. I work with them. I love working with them. They played a great job. Two, I want to talk directly to Hamas, bring them to me. I think that must happen. And now literally everyone that's pro-Israel are losing their minds, okay? They're like, you have to fire this guy. You have to fire this guy. You have to fire this guy. I never thought that Donald Trump's golfing partner, okay? Donald Trump's golfing partner, who's a real estate developer shark, would be the sane guy in American foreign policy. And in many respects, it does make sense. Why does it make sense? Because the bar is placed that low by incompetent assholes who have no interest in actually stopping the bloodshed. Not to say that like Trump wants to stop the bloodshed either. I do think that he at least wants to, limit the Gaza impact, so that, they can move on to lighting the West Bank on fire, which they're already doing. Like all it took was for someone to be like, oh, you want me to stop this Gaza stuff? Like everyone's yelling about it. It seems like a popular thing to stop it. Yeah, okay. It makes sense. I have the full authority of the American government. All right, I'm just going to go and just be like, stop it. Like, it doesn't require a brilliant mind It doesn't require a particularly brilliant mind to just say, hey, I hold all the cards here. Shut the fuck up. You're done. You're done with Gaza. Forget about Gaza. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's all it took. So all of the back and forth for the past 15, 16 months of like, oh, Biden is trying to do it, but it's so complex, you see. There's nuance to it. All this stuff was nonsense. And I told you it was nonsense. It was nonsense. Either you have to believe that all of the Harvard-educated State Department cronies are just awful at doing foreign policy, and Steve Witkoff, a fucking golf partner of Donald Trump from Mar-a-Lago, who's a real estate developer, is this brilliant mind, okay? Or it doesn't take a brilliant mind. It just simply takes someone to say to Israel, the only offending party here, to stop it, to cut it out. That's it. Having said that, I still think that their grand design will probably look nearly identical to what the Biden administration was trying to do, but in the wishy-washy way. What is this? He's talking about Palestine like it's some sort of future vacation land. For Trump, yeah, he thinks it's real estate opportunities. But that creepy podcast told me you're pro-Trump and that Biden actually fought hard for the Palestine. I have no idea what you're talking about. But no, I am not pro-Trump. I think everybody knows I am not pro-Trump. That would be... Dude, anyone that thinks I'm pro-Trump is I mean, yeah, it's funny. Damn, dude, 8 minutes. 8 minutes of Donald Trump going off, rambling, and I've talked about it for an hour and 30 minutes. We haven't even gotten through the first video yet. This was supposed to be about him declassifying the MLK and JFK files. Welcome back, big dog. This is how it is. This is how it is going forward. Trump just says some erroneous, ridiculous, nonsensical bullshit, and then I have to sit here and explain it for 8.5 hours about how that's stupid, it's wrong, how the Democrats also did awful things, but here's why Trump is even worse, yada, yada, yada. Great stuff, man. We're so back. It's going to take away my life force, my remaining life force.
They have no personality whatsoever, and then I have some that do. Steve has a wonderful way about him, and people like him, and even in this case, both sides like him, and he was able to make a deal. That deal would have never been made without Steve. The Biden people couldn't make the deal. They were working on it for 1.5 years. They couldn't make a deal. We got it done prior to the inauguration. We said it has to be before the inauguration. I mean, the deal should hold, but if it doesn't hold...
Just hours after you made that big Stardate announcement, Elon Musk tweeted that they don't actually have the money. Is that true?
I don't know if they do, but, you know, they're putting up the money. The government's not putting up anything. They're putting up money. They're very rich people, so I hope they do. And, I mean, Elon doesn't like one of those people. So
the girls are fighting. They're both gay.
No. It's going to create tremendous numbers of jobs. It's going to also create a lot of benefits medically for cancer research and other things. It's going to have a huge positive impact. And, you know, we want to be ahead of China. We're right now way ahead of China. David Sachs is one of the all-time experts. You know, that people are amazed that you just met him. I don't know if he's still here. There he is. But one of the most respected people in that world. It's a world. It's a whole different world. And we're ahead of China now because of what I'm doing. And I think it's going to be very successful.
Mr. President, please, you just asked the Davos Forum again that NATO countries should spend 5% of GDP on defense. Yeah. The United States don't...
We're protecting them, you know. They're not protecting us, we're protecting them. So I don't think we should be spending, I'm not sure we should be spending anything, but we should certainly be helping them. But they should up their 2% to 5%, yeah.
Mr. President, you said earlier during your speech at Davos that you would like to see interest rates come down. How much would you like to see them come down?
A lot. I'd like to see them come down a lot, and oil prices will come down. And when oil prices come down, everything's going to be cheaper for the American people and actually for the world, but for the American people. So I'd like to see oil prices come down. And when the energy comes down, that's going to knock out a lot of the inflation. That's going to automatically bring the interest rates down.
Are you worried that there's too much going on at once if you're trying to bring interest rates down, get the economy back going?
No, it just works that way. I mean, it just economically works that way. When the oil comes down, it'll bring down prices, then you won't have inflation, and then the interest rates will come down.
You demand that the interest rates come down.
Well, I would put in a strong statement.
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah.
Are you going to talk to Powell about this and bring the leaks down?
At the right time, I would.
Sir, do you have any pardoned that were participating in the January 6, 2021 attack? Do you plan to meet with any of them or meet with them at the White House?
I don't know. I'm sure that they probably would like to. I did them something important, but what they did is they were protesting a crooked election. And, you know, I mean, people understand that also. And they were treated very badly. Nobody's been treated like that. So I'd be open to it, certainly. I don't know of anything like that, but I think they're going to meet in some of the congressmen, women want to meet. But I'd certainly be open to it. I haven't spoken to any of them yet, but I know they're very happy. I gave them their life back. Their life was taken away from them unnecessarily and unfairly. I gave them their life back, so I can imagine they probably would like to.
Mr. Green, when you said that Biden took bad advice and not pardoning himself yesterday?
Well, he did. I think he did, because he pardoned all these people that are crooked as hell. Look, the congressmen, they're crooked. What they did is they destroyed evidence. When you destroy evidence, especially criminally like that, they did it criminally. And the reason they destroyed the evidence is because it proved that I was right. They didn't destroy evidence for no reason. They destroyed it because they found many documents saying that I offered 10,000 soldiers. If they had 500 soldiers or National Guard, there would have been no problem. If they had 200, that would have been. I offered 10,000 if they needed them. There would have been no problem. That's been now totally disproven. And it's also been disproven by Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who has her on tape saying it was her fault, that she has full responsibility for this. And they have all that stuff. They destroyed everything. And they go through a year and a half, 2 years of nonsense. They come up with tremendous evidence, and they destroyed evidence. And Schiff knew about it. That's why he's on there. He knew all about the destruction of evidence. A lot of people said he's the one that got him to do it. And he's a crooked guy, you know, totally crooked politician. And so he's pardoned, and some other people are pardoned. And these are crooked politicians, every one of them. Benny Johnson, what he did is incredible. I mean, he was the leader of the committee, and he did it. Cheney, crying Adam Kinzinger, all of them. They destroyed evidence and deleted everything. There's nothing. There's no evidence now. They're crooked politicians, and they should be punished. You know, that's even in a civil trial, you go to jail for a thing like that. They destroyed every document, from what I understand, every document, because it proved that I was totally innocent.
Do you plan to send up to 10,000 troops to the southern border?
Yeah. Southern border?
Yes,
when
the border.
When you say southern border, when I said 10,000 troops, I was referring to the capital.
Oh, I see. And
No,
when
yeah,
do you
I was referring to
plan
I
to
offered
do?
10,000 troops for the capital before January 6th.
And as for the 1,500 at the southern border, sir, to clarify, what exactly do you want them to be doing right now?
Making sure that the border is safe and secure, and that criminals don't come into our country.
Mr. President, do you think that sanctions on Russia will force President Putin to negotiate?
I don't know, but I think he should make a deal.
Mr. President, does it bother you that Elon Musk criticized a deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, it doesn't. He hates one of the people in the deals.
Have you spoken to him since then?
No, I've spoken to Elon, but I've spoken to all of them, actually. The people in the deal are very, very smart people. But Elon, one of the people he happens to hate, but I have certain hatreds of people, too.
Sir, on China, what do you think Xi Jinping can do on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Which one?
The Ukraine-Russia war. What can Xi Jinping do about that?
China?
Yeah.
They have a lot of power over Russia. They supply energy to Russia, and Russia supplies energy to them. They supply other things to, you know, it's really a very big trade. It's a very big trading partner. But Russia supplies a lot of energy to China. China pays them a lot of money for that. And I think they have a lot of power over Russia. So
he's literally right about this, by the way. He's not, I mean, he is right. Like, this paired up with the fact that he keeps saying that he wants to talk to the Russian side as well, once again, is like the unique moments where Donald Trump, albeit still invested heavily in the machinations of American empire, will maybe stray away a little bit from the way that the Democrats operate, if that makes sense. Like, it's almost identical to the Gaza situation. I still don't think that he's going to shut down the Ukraine operation in its entirety, or push or push like the Russia to stop somehow, or convince Russia to stop somehow. Because like I said, there's too much money to be made for the military industrial complex. Ow, fuck. But even in the way that he communicates on this stuff, like he's able to do it in a very common sense. He's able to do it in a way where it's just like the average person kind of understands as well. He was wrong. Russia supplies China with energy. Yeah, but if you think that China doesn't have influence, tremendous influence over Russia, I mean, you're crazy. China does have tremendous influence over Russia. China has consistently told Vladimir Putin to, dial it back, scale it back. There are reports from Western press that say that Xi might have been partially responsible for Russia stopping the usage of nukes even. Okay? So, like, these are the kinds of things that in the interim, I think Donald Trump will get aesthetic W's over. And he also is very good at communicating in the right way. And in a way where, like, I think if the liberal media automatically is anti whatever he's doing, okay, they're going to come across more like warmongers, and Trump is going to come across in the eyes of the American public, at least, as the guy who does definitely want to stop the wars when he doesn't, right? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't believe that Donald Trump is a peaceful dove. I mean, that much is clear. It's clear from his first term. He was never a peaceful dove. He never actually he never actually operated in that way at all. That was a complete lie, right? Having said that, however, I think he does a better job of marketing himself as that than the Democrats do. Hey, Hassan, there's a protest for Palestine tonight in Tokyo. Why don't you pull up? Maybe. That sounds dope. Anyway, will Trump get the Nobel Peace Prize if he stops Russia? Because Obama also got that and doesn't deserve it. Maybe. Why'd you say Porter Robinson? That sounds awesome though. Pro-Palestine rally. Don't worry, I brought my keffiyeh with me too. I was on a panel of dumb Trumpers on TikTok. The host stated that Dubai gave Trump a few $100 billion. Do you think that's true, Hassan? All the Gulf states have glazed Donald Trump and also offered a tremendous amount of money to Donald Trump. That's not false. Like they got a bunch of weapons contracts. They all did that for sure. Like more so than even previous administrations, I would say.
We'll make a deal. Maybe they want to make a deal. I think from what I hear, Putin would like to see me, and we'll meet as soon as we can. I'd meet immediately. Every day we don't meet, soldiers are being killed on a battlefield. And that battlefield is like no battlefield since World War II. I have pictures that you don't want to see. Soldiers are being killed on a daily basis at numbers that we haven't seen in decades. And it'd be nice to end that war. It's a ridiculous war.
You said that Ukraine's ready to make a deal. Did President Zelensky tell you that personally?
Yeah, sure. He's ready to negotiate a deal. He'd like to stop.
Like if this is the end point, I'm still not certain that this will happen. And the reasons for why I'm not certain that this will happen is because there's too much money to be made off of like Ukraine being in a permanent state of war. Like a lot of that investment has to go somewhere else, right? Having said that, however, this was inevitable. All wars end in treaties. Okay? This was my point from the start, that the American government never had any honest interest in defending Ukraine. They had no interest in Ukrainian emancipation, just like they had no interest in ever allowing Ukraine to be a part of NATO. And a lot of people yelled at me in this time frame. And so many people had to die for everyone to finally come to this point, I guess, where so many people had to die for other people to finally reach that conclusion where they're like, okay, maybe there isn't enough manpower left in Ukraine, and it would be worse overall if they lowered the age of conscription to 18 and started at gunpoint forcing children basically to go and die in this endless war. So if that was the case, as I said was going to happen, and if that's what we're facing down right now, don't you think that Biden, or at least like, not Biden because he's decrepit, but don't you think that the competent administrators that are in the Biden administration, don't you think that they could have foreseen this as well? And maybe it would have been better off overall if they were the ones who they were the ones who brought Russia to the table to start the conversations, and not just for like hostage negotiations, but in general, to see what their demands were, to start the negotiation process. Are you nervous that you might be shut down by Trump? I mean, a little bit, for sure. Like, it's obvious that like everything that this current government has said so far is pretty open. Like he literally wants to deport people who are pro-Palestine. Like, he wants to deport students who are pro-Palestine. That's what he said, you know? So if that's the case, then yeah, people like myself are a genuine threat. People like myself were a genuine threat to the Democratic administration as well. But I think that the Trump administration is not above putting that standard of free speech in that regard. That's what I think. Does that scare you at all? Don't you have birthright citizenship? Yes, I do. I'm not talking about me being deported. I'm just using that as an example. Also, he's talked about denaturalization as well. So that's another side of the story. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I'm going to get deported. I'm saying an administration that openly says they want to deport foreign students for suspected of being pro-Palestine is obviously going to do a bunch of stuff before they get there in terms of censorship for American citizens who are pro-Palestine as well. That's what I meant. I wasn't trying to say that he's going to deport me. I mean, just flat out lying law. Wait, what? Not pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas, just lying law. Okay, chatter. Let's say it's pro-Hamas, okay, which is the governing party of Gaza right now. But even then, you think that's appropriate to deport someone? Also, what do you think people get mad at me over? You think people get mad at me because they're like, Hassan is pro-Palestine? No, they say I'm pro-Hamas, dumbass. They say I'm pro-Hamas and pro the Ayatollah. The fuck are you talking about? That is what it is. Being pro-Palestine in the eyes of the American government is being pro-Hamas. They're not going to say, we're going to start deporting students for wanting Palestinian emancipation. It's called marketing. Why can't people ever understand this? Why is this so difficult to understand? Every American with like three operating fucking processors inside of their minds understand that all politicians lie, okay? They lie all the time. But when it comes to their favorite politician, those cells erode, okay? All of a sudden, they go, nah, this is actually valid. This is real. It is actually about, deporting people who are pro-Hamas. Even then, that's ridiculous, okay? Even then, it's ridiculous to be like, oh, you're pro-Hamas, so we're deporting you. But, like, that's not a standard that you can apply to begin with. But having said that, they're not going to apply that rigid standard to people who are pro-Hamas. They're just going to say everyone who's pro-Palestine is pro-Hamas because that's what they say anyway. Why are you so stupid? That's what I don't understand about a lot of these people that will sit here and be like, well, all politicians lie. All they care about is like the corporate oligarchy or whatever. And then they'll turn around and be like, yeah, I believe Donald Trump when he says they're only deporting violent criminal immigrants. The current structure in the United States of America is that if an undocumented migrant has committed a violent crime, depending on the severity of the crime and depending on the other legal circumstances, legal jurisdiction circumstances, they most likely will get permanent jail, okay? And in some instances, they might get deported. But in most instances, they just go to jail. That's how it works. The idea that like violent undocumented migrants are not being apprehended and going through the court system is so insane to me. I don't know how people just run with this reality. And part of the reason why they go to jail instead of being deported is because if you deport an undocumented migrant that is like, let's say, a serial killer, okay, what happens when the country that he was deported back to doesn't actually have the same legal structure or have the same interest in apprehending him permanently or even have the facilities? Okay, so he can just come back to America. Is that better? No, that's the reason why they don't fucking deport every undocumented migrant. Dumbasses. Do you want someone who has, let's say, killed American citizens to be able to walk free in their home nation? No, you want them to go to jail. That's what I want. That's why it's so stupid when people say, oh, dude, I can't believe they're not deporting these undocumented migrants that did crimes. It's like, yeah, dog, of course. If they've murdered a bunch of people, yeah, they should go to jail. What are you talking about? Prison abolition who? I'm sorry, dude. This is not about undocumented migrants or anyone. If you kill someone, okay, it is understandable that there is going to be some punishments, okay? Your freedom of movement should absolutely be restricted. I'm not having this conversation with you guys right now. You're out of your mind. The point is, they don't actually apprehend in the new protocols. That's literally, yes, that's the other part. Exactly. That's literally how MS-13 was created. Gang members that were in American prisons were deported back from the United States to El Salvador without literally telling the El Salvadoran government that they were sending back gang members. Okay? And yeah, American gang members that had a connection with the United States of America all of a sudden were able to basically capture the entirety of the government. That's literally how MS-13 became the gang that it is. And initially it started because, lo and behold, guess what? Shocker, that the El Salvadoran people were getting fucked over with no access to government initiatives. Like, they had to resort to black market means. Then they went to prison, became more violent in that process, because when you go to prison, you become a worse criminal, or rather a better criminal, I guess, but a worse person overall. Anyway, yeah, also there was one instance of us, there were two instances, I think. Florida student protester deported back to Colombia following suspension. There was two. There was another one. It was like at Dartmouth or something that they were trying to deport as well. So like that already had started. This isn't to say that like the Biden administration was great at obviously dealing with student protesters. Chatter, I mean, come on. I've talked about this quite a bit. 3,100 arrests were made under the Democratic leadership in supposedly the free nation, the freest nation on earth.
Somebody that lost a lot of soldiers. So did Russia. Lost a lot. Russia lost more soldiers.
Not Dartmouth, Cornell, maybe.
800,000 soldiers. Would you say that's a lot? I'd say it's a lot.
You wanted to make Dr. King's dream a reality. What's your response to his children and civil rights leaders who say that your DEI orders are a contradiction of his dream and could further drive racial disparity?
Mr. President,
that's it. I haven't heard.
How do you see the war in Yemen end?
Well, we'll see what happens, but they can't shoot down our ships, the Houthis.
Yes.
They're not. You can't shoot down our ships or any ships, and that's what they've been doing. So
see, this is where his dick riding of Saudi Arabia puts him in the same category as Brandon, right? This is where Donald Trump's Saudi loyalty actually cooks his foreign policy perspective, because Brandon went after the Houthis as aggressively as he could, and it went nowhere, right? It went nowhere. Donald Trump comes in, and if he tries to escalate in the same way, instead of putting together a ceasefire deal and also treating the Ansarallah administration as the current government of Yemen, because that is what it is, okay? That's a much better way to deal with the process rather than trying to dominate them, because it doesn't work. I think like I read this dude who talked about like North Korea. I read something on Twitter who talked about how like the DPRK played a fairly formative role in tunnel warfare, and how the DPRK, North Korea, is like the most complex tunnel system on the planet because of the Korean War, and how they basically brought that over to the Viet Cong. And that the Viet Cong also then brought that over to, made its way to Iran. The North Koreans made its way to Iran with their tunnel structures as well, and like basically underground facilities that evade surveillance, but more importantly bombings. And how that also basically redefined warfare for Hamas and Hezbollah as well. So in that regard, you just kind of can't deal with it, you know? You just can't deal with people who we have all this complex machinery. We have all of these complex munitions. We have all of these mechanisms of warfare, a million different ways to evaporate babies from afar. And yet, ironically enough, all of those technological advancements still get owned by dirt. Put enough dirt in front of it and it's impenetrable. Think about that. Think about how crazy that is. Like, you got dirt, ingenuity, engineering, a shovel, and the results are clear. I mean, look at Gaza. Look at Gaza. Look at North Gaza. Like 3-4 days before the ceasefire finally was implemented, they walked back in. The Israeli occupying force walked back into one of the most destroyed parts of North Gaza and got their shit blown. Okay, five troops now post-mortem general troops that were 17, 19, 18 years old got their ship blown up. It's crazy. In North Gaza, they tried to ethnically cleanse that entire territory, and they still have not dealt with Hamas there. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because a similar thing happens with, it was 15 troops, not 5, sorry. A similar thing is happening with Yemen, okay? As long as people are willing to fight back, as long as they are willing, unless you break the people's will, and seemingly enough, you can't break these people's will at all, especially the Yemeni people, holy moly. Like, there is just no way to deal with it unless you, like, nuke Yemen, I guess.
On the terror list, that's not good for them.
So why did you revoke security protections for former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Brian Hook?
Well, the same reason I do. When you
what?
Have protection, you can't have it for the rest of your life. Do you want to?
Wait. 21 Israeli troops are killed in the deadliest attack on military in Gaza since the Gaza offensive began. Wait, when did this happen? 21? Oh, on Tuesday. A significant setback that could add to mounting calls for a ceasefire. Wait, this is from before, right? Why is this from today? Oh, it's 2024. Oh my God. I was like, what is going on? Bro, y'all are so dumb. No, I'm talking about the recent thing that happened, not 2024. Jesus Christ. Gaza is clear surface. Yemen is mostly mountains, which makes it even harder to deal with. Yeah, bro, the Saudis learned that lesson too. That's the other part of the story. Is like, I don't even think the Saudis want that smoke. So maybe they'll get into Trump's ear and be like, hey, let's pack this up. Let's not do this.
A large detail of people guarding people for the rest of their lives. I mean, there's risks to everything.
So would you support striking Iran's nuclear facilities?
Say it?
Would you support Israel, for example, striking nuclear facilities?
Well, I'm not going to answer that question. We'll have to see. I'm going to be meeting with first people over the next couple of days. We'll see. But hopefully that could be worked out without having to worry about it. It would be nice. It would really be nice if that could be worked out without having to go that further step.
And who are you going to meet?
A mini F. It's fine. It happens sometimes, okay? Minor F, we're back. The Yakuza saved me, okay? Look in the... Hold on, I have to text Will. He woke up. The man who erased his ISB. Where can I get a shirt like that? Oh, great question. It's called ideology.shop. This is too blown out in the back, right? You guys can't see anything. I don't know how we would ever be able to show like the background at all. Like, unless it's in the morning. Like, I wish I could show you what the background looks like without it being like fully blown out, you know? It's also easier to trap the fuck out of destroyed buildings. I got 17 occupation soldiers in the north in 6 days before the ceasefire. Truly unshakable resistance for people interested in pro-Palestine. Okay, dude. Use center metering on your camera. I don't know how to do any of that nerd stuff. I'm sorry. Cutie Hassanrella, thank you for the 25 gifted subs. Thank you. Did you play any games on the flight? Nah. I didn't even watch. I downloaded so many animes that I was going to watch, and I didn't even watch a single one. It's 8 a.m. there. How long are you streaming? So my goal today is to get a couple hours of news commentary, as I'm doing right now, and then move on from news commentary to, like, you know, regular city exploration. Our first day is for settling in, as I talked about already. Our first day is just for settling in. So we don't have anything on the docket, I don't think. And you pirate anime? No. It's piracy is a service problem. Gaben is right. And for me, all of the animes that I watch are on like Netflix and everywhere else, so it doesn't matter to me. No. There is IRL today, but there is IRL today. I just haven't figured out what we're gonna do. And I'm here for 2 weeks. And no, we didn't kidnap Cutie and bring her to Japan. To the Japans. Hit the cord in Shinjuku? How did you cut your shirt? What do you mean? With scissors? Are there basketball courts out here? Because the weather is not too bad. The weather is not so bad that it's like impossible to play basketball outdoors, I think. Am I crazy? But you guys don't like basketball anyway. You hate when I stream basketball. Why are you suggesting that? You know? Yeah, the weather is like nice. As a gaffer, I'm flying out to Japan to fix the lighting issue. Big dog, don't worry about it. Thanks, man. Hey, bud, when are you going to visit Uncle Ho, your true uncle? Oh, don't worry. I want to go to Vietnam real bad. Who's all on the trip with you? The trip is massive. Like, we are just fear end. So it's me, Austin, Will, Caroline's here as well. March is here. And outside of us, like the roomies are here, I think, like all of them. Nice Wig is here. They're all not Cutie. Cutie's not here, of course. So there's so many people here. All right, let's continue.
Well, I'd rather not say that, but very high level people. But hopefully that can be worked out. You know, look, Iran hopefully will make a deal. And if they don't make a deal, I guess that's okay too.
Hey, Mr. President, just to follow up, you said you think the Fed should listen to you. Can you elaborate on why you think it should?
With regard to interest rates?
Correct, yes.
Because I think I know interest rates much better than they do. And I think I know it certainly much better than the one who's primarily in charge of making that decision. But no, I'm guided by them very much. But if I disagree, I will let it be known. Well, China's already paying a lot of tariffs because of me. And when you add them up, I would say, you know, they're paying a lot. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars. They never paid 10 cents until I came along. When I came along, they've paid hundreds of billions of dollars. Never paid anything. And so they've already started at a higher base.
The date for Chinese tariffs as well, sir? February 1, or was that just Mexico and Canada?
It's Mexico and Canada, but we're talking about China too. Look, China's sending.
Okay, it seems like it's still blown up. Yeah, I like that the media is like, hey, can you please attack China harder? Why aren't you doing that? Please go to the Tokari Center to see the seals. They are so cute. Are you still meeting up with Hideo Kojima? No, that's not gonna happen. Kojima Studios invited me initially, but they are heavily dominated by Death Stranding 2 right now. So they said that it's not going to happen, which is kind of an L. I know it's a real bummer. Trust me. I really wanted to go. I was really excited, and I'm not going to be able to do that. The Kojima Productions one. So I'm not getting scanned. I'm getting scammed instead. Cancel the trip? Yeah. True. Next year, bro. Next year. That's what they said. They literally were like, oh, well, we'll have more time in the future. And it's like, yeah, I'll just come back to Japan, I guess. All right, let's continue with this news.
Tremendous amounts of bad drugs, fentanyl, really bad stuff. Most of it comes through Mexico. And we're losing, I think, 300,000 lives a year because of that. People say 150.
Dude, he's like, dude. It's like, I love the connection that it's actually it's the fentanyl deaths are directly because of the migrants, and it's all coming in from Mexico, and it's Mexico's fault. And yeah, they're killing 300. Bro, it's easy to balance the light. All you need is a reflector to balance out the light. I don't know what you mean. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, I'm not going to do that right now. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep going.
100, 120. I think 300,000 lives a year. Those are old numbers. The lower number is a low number. And we can't have that. They've got to stop sending it. I had a deal with President Xi, but it was a deal that wasn't followed up by Biden, of course, where they were going to issue the death penalty to people that make fentanyl, and that would have stopped it. But we'll have to stop it with tariffs. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
White towels on desk or hanging, bouncing in the sun. Guys, stop throwing ideas at me. I know, I'm going to do all of them. Okay? Yeah, we have warp speed. ICE is making hundreds of arrests in sanctuary cities. But before we get to that, a couple different things happen with Steve. Our boy Steve Witkoff. Let's talk about it. So Stevie boy came in hot. And he had a lot to say. And apparently it was quite controversial for many people.
President Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, he was certainly a key player in the negotiations and the deal between Israel and Hamas. Thank you for being on our show, and thank you for being willing to serve the country as well. Wanted to ask you about Hamas. Apparently, they told the New York Times, we are prepared for a dialogue with America and achieving understandings on everything. How do you see that?
Well, I think it's good if it's accurate. I think we were able to demonstrate that President Trump's policies, peace through strength, they work. Everybody listens. And getting those 3 people out. That was a big deal. We've got 4 more coming out, I believe, this weekend. And it's a testament to how the world perceives President Trump's presidency.
When you met with these leaders, whether it was in Qatar or in Jerusalem, how did you deliver that message that convinced them that you mean business and so does Trump?
Well, Bill, I said you've got to look at the tweet, look at the truth, look at what he said. The words speak for itself. He expects a hostage release. Remember, we were working, we had nothing to do with the mathematics behind the prisoner release and the hostage release. That was set probably, I don't know, 11, 12 months ago in the so-called May 27th protocol that was agreed to by Hamas, by the Israelis, and monitored by the United States under the Biden administration. So that set the mathematics around how many Palestinians in Israeli jails would be released for each hostage who was coming out. Our job was to speed up the process because it felt like it had bogged down. And so that was the job, and we were able to get it done. And it doesn't happen without the president.
It's on track for the moment, and we'll see what happens next, phase 2, and on and on and on. I was watching you at the end of the inauguration in the rotunda on Capitol Hill, and when now the former president was walking out, you stopped, grabbed his hand, and had some words with him. What did you say that you want our audience to understand about your message that moment?
I said, thank you. I said, thank you for allowing me to work on this peace deal because it was important, and I wanted to thank him for that.
And what did he say?
He said, thank you.
Simple enough.
Sir, could you project?
Jared Kushner could never. I mean, dude, anyone could do this. I want to stress this. Okay? This man is not a particularly brilliant man. And the only reason why he comes across like a breath of fresh air, I guess, is because the tools that he has at his disposal are endless. Okay? Anyone could do it. Okay? Anyone could do it. A fucking real estate developer that is just a normie otherwise who plays golf with Donald Trump can do it. Why? Because he is the physical manifestation of Donald Trump in that room. And Donald Trump has said, get this deal done. That's it. Every moment that Steve Witkoff speaks about the successes of this ceasefire is yet another moment where you should realize that the Democratic Party, with the endless amount of pedigree that they had in terms of foreign policy, just truly did not want to do this. That's it. That's it. It's that simple. All of the other stuff was just lies. It was lies to keep up this veneer of interest in maintaining the international rule-based order or whatever. Like they had a goal. They wanted Israel to be let loose in the region, and they let it happen. And then they acted like, oh man, we're just really trying to stop it. It's not that complicated. Okay? Why Bibi supported Trump then? He got played or more to come? I think there's more to come. I think that's what it is. I think Benjamin Netanyahu also believes that Donald Trump will protect him from additional legal scrutiny, where he didn't feel like the liberals would do that for him, maybe. Okay? But you have to understand, this is not about Benjamin Netanyahu's wants, his political future, his goals. He is not an autonomous party, okay? He's not an autonomous party. He's not a party that has any agency in this. He is merely a vessel of American empire. He's just the guy that you can yell at, okay? He's the punching bag. And no, he's no longer insanely unpopular. All the bloodshed made him very popular in Israel again. Don't worry. Yeah, I said time and time again that all Biden needed to do was make a phone call, the right phone call, okay? A phone call where he says it's done. And he never made that phone call. That's it. Now, this is a lot more complicated with Iran, okay? This is actually a complicated process. It's a complicated process because it requires not American interests, but it requires like the American design in the region to be tweaked potentially, okay? because now you're not dealing with a foreign ally that will just do whatever you want him to do. Okay? Now you're dealing with a foreign adversary that is a major threat as a state, as a functioning state, potentially a nuclear state, that is an enemy to your designs in the region and an enemy to your major power player allies in the region, Saudi Arabia and Israel. Okay? Remember 3 months ago you were watching that Ozzy Zio pig YouTuber Casimir report video gloating over the genocidal general's plan and the annexation of North Gaza, and 3 months after they withdrew from North Gaza? Look, I'm not saying their designs for Gaza is over, okay? I'm not saying Israel's interest in Gaza is done, it's diminished. I think that there is still the West Bank in play.
I know you don't like to speculate, but could you project 6 months ahead or so? Because one of the key pieces of the deal, as I understand it from friends who are very supportive of the Israelis, that in a way it was a terrible deal, but one that they should take because of the situation that they found themselves in. But the key was Israel did not have to declare an end to the war. President Trump, if you could play this is call for number one. He says he's not confident it will hold. Watch.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza and conclude the 3 phases of this deal?
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident. But I think they're very weakened on the other side. Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
How do you characterize whether the ceasefire will hold?
Well, I don't disagree with the president. I think that the implementation, Dana, of it is probably more difficult than the execution of the deal. The execution, that was a big step. That was the condition precedent. We had to get it done, and we did, thank God. And now we've got to implement. I'm actually going to be going over to Israel. I'm going to be a part of an inspection team at the Netzarim corridor and also at the Philadelphia corridor. That's where you have outside overseers sort of making sure that people are safe and people who are entering are not armed and no one has bad motivations. But we have to make sure that the implementation goes well, because if it goes well, we'll get into phase 2 and we're going to get a lot more live bodies out. And I think that is what the president's directive to me and everybody else working in the American government on this. That's his directive, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Our audience may not be that familiar with you, but they're going to get to know you very soon. And we really appreciate you coming on today because these are very important issues. Your relationship with Donald Trump appears to me to be forged over the years, and you've known each other a long time through New York real estate and the game of golf. And you were with them in Palm Beach the day that second assassination attempt took place. So you guys know where each other's coming from on just about everything. With regard to the future in the Middle East, do you see soon a handshake deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia that gets that peace deal back on track, that would then pull in other Arab countries in the region?
Well, you know, Bill, it's been out in the news that there's been talk of a normalization deal, and I think that normalization is an amazing opportunity for the region. It's basically the beginning of the end of war. And the beginning of the end of war means that the entire region becomes investable. It becomes financeable. Banks do not have to underwrite whether the Houthis, Hezbollah, or Hamas is going to fire a missile and take down a hyperscale data center. So I think that normalization is huge for the state of Israel. It's huge for the region. And hopefully it happens. And my own opinion is that a condition precedent to normalization was a ceasefire. We needed to get people believing again. First, we needed the hopeful moment, and I'd like to think that we've achieved that, and we'll build on that. And then on top of that, we needed to show people that we could stop the violence, and we could have conversation and dialogue. And so this is the beginning of that. And hopefully everything over there can be settled in that way. If it's possible, everyone will become a believer.
Just one more from me. How many countries do you think could be on board?
I think you could get everybody on board in that region. I really do. I think there's a new sense of leadership over there. Oh my gosh! I mean, Qatar. Look at what Qatar was enormously helpful in this. Sheikh Mohammed, he did plenty of his communication skills with Hamas were indispensable here. So I think the UAE is already a part of it. Egypt was very, very helpful to us in these endeavors. I think we have the opportunity to get everybody bought in to a better future for the region. More opportunity, more hope. I think we have this is an inflection point.
Steve Witkoff, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it and hope to see you again.
Good luck.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. That's okay. Okay, thank you. Bye. I had to order mushi mushi. I had to order water and a bunch of stuff. How's the jet lag? Non-existent so far, but gee, the day is still very, very young. As you know, it's 4 p.m. over there, but over here it's only 9 a.m. So I just got started. Okay, so couple points here that are important. Okay. Number one, Drop Site is covering this. It says, in an interview with Fox News, Witkoff also announced he would travel to Gaza to be a part of the inspection team to ensure compliance with the deal. He said he wants the implementation to go well.
Now is President Trump's special.
He said he wants the implementation to go well. If it goes well, they'll go into phase 2, and we're going to get a lot more live bodies out. And I think that's what the president's directive to me and everybody else working in the American government on in this is. I'm actually going to go to Israel. I'm going to be a part of the inspection team at the Netzarim corridor and also a part of the Philadelphia corridor. Said senior Hamas official Musa Abu Marzouk's recent statement to the New York Times that Hamas is prepared to enter a dialogue with the new Trump administration would be good if true. Emphasized Qatar's leadership in the broader normalization process and its crucial role in the peace efforts. Witkoff said he believed a long, elusive normalization deal with Saudi Arabia could be reached. He went further, saying he believed every country in the region could get on board with such a deal. Normalization means the beginning of the end of the war. It means the entire region becomes investable, becomes financeable. Classic real estate guy, classic real estate speak. My own opinion is that the conditional precedent to normalization was a ceasefire. We need to get people believing again. And this was not met with a lot of positive opinions in the minds of a lot of pro-Israeli speakers in the United States of America. A lot of people were very, very frustrated, especially because he said that he was interested in talking to Hamas directly, okay? Not through shuttle diplomacy, but directly potentially. That was a big deal. They got very mad at that. Now they're calling him a Qatari agent, especially because he once again glazed the emir. And also, I think he's like done dealings with Qatar in the past as well. So people are very, very upset about this. Yeah, Mr. Anti-Zionist over here. Okay? Yeah, Trump is Hamas now, chat. Pro-Israel Republicans are alarmed over Trump's Defense Department appointee, Michael Domino. We talked about this before. I covered this before. He said, Michael Domino, tapped as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, has said that the U.S. has minimal to non-existent vital interests in the region. And of course, people are very upset about this. And I thought it was really funny. It's like, I mean, you can't have one guy. Like every other guy doesn't think this. You can't just have one freaking guy that thinks this. No room for division here, okay? Like 500 guys already think this. Okay? 501 is unacceptable, okay? The 501st guy can't think the opposite. Okay? Nope. Not allowed. He said he wanted to visit Gaza. What's the chances they let him and then watch Israel kill him and blame it on criminal elements inside of Gaza that have been armed? No. Steve Witkoff is Trump, okay? Steve Witkoff, understand something. Steve Witkoff is the physical embodiment of Donald Trump. He is the physical manifestation of Donald Trump. That's not happening. That seems far too insane, even for Israel. New York Times, contractors are scheduled to begin searching vehicles on Saturday and allowing those returning on foot to cross without inspection. If Witkoff is going to Gaza, would that mean third-party investigators could have a greater chance to get into Gaza and investigate the atrocities done by Israel? Eventually. It depends. I don't know what they're going to do with the Philadelphia corridor. Okay? I don't know what this means for the Philadelphia corridor, but if they open it up and if the Rafah border is no longer controlled by Israel, then yes, third-party investigators will have an easier time getting in. Why are you always being negative and biased about one side thing? Open up and rethink sometimes? What do you mean? I don't even know what you mean by this. I like that I'm talking about a ceasefire deal that came after the heels of 15 months of genocide of a captured population that's living in an open-air prison, and this guy's like, you're being negative right now. I don't like that. Okay? It's crazy. I hope you're not Trump appointee for Pentagon Middle East advisors called to pressure Israel. We're really there to counter Iran, and that's really at the behest of Israelis and the Saudis. Michael Domino said, oh my God. Okay. I get why. I get why they hate him. He ain't wrong, but one guy, man, let there be one guy. Let there be one dude who actually, by the way, I think this attitude, ironically enough, is I can't believe the state of affairs in American foreign policy that like the one guy with realpolitik, like actual realpolitik as a ideological predisposition is getting yelled at as though he's like, and he's being considered woke. That's crazy. Like, that's it. He's just saying he's not wrong. There's truth to what he's saying. He's the one former CIA guy that hates the Israelis. No, there's many such cases. What do you think about MBS saying he will only accept Palestine 1967 borders? People here in Saudi believe him. Yeah, that's the reason why he's saying that, because he wants the people in Saudi to believe him. MBS has very openly stated time and time again his resentment for the Palestinian population that just won't, like, die. He thinks the Palestinians are simply a nuisance and annoying because he would rather get weapons contracts and not have to deal with his population feeling sympathetic towards the plight of people that are being dominated by a country that he wants to align with, Israel. He has to say that so that, the Saudi population goes, yeah, no, he still has the best interest of the ummah in mind, First report of ICE questioning legitimacy of U.S. veteran citizenship and no warrant or raid. Oh, God. There we go. Bro, watch out. You are out of states. If the Saudi kingdom wanted to kill me, they could kill me in America. What are you talking about? I'm too much of a small fry. Why would they do that? They got bigger stuff to worry about. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, let's continue. I don't know, man. CNN and NPR have been referencing you lately. You're actually him now. I'm not him. I promise. I'm not. Just don't go to a Turkish embassy anytime soon. True. I am humbly telling you, I am only the second largest political commentator on this platform. Number one slot has been overtaken by Asmongold and the brilliant right-wing commentary that was desperately needed on this platform. Finally, some diversity of opinion. Finally. You see the latest thing? Asman said he's German. I did. When asked by, I suspect, random 4chaners whether he was like secretly Jewish or not, he responded with, "I'm German. It's the opposite," which is kind of funny because, like, no, that's not the opposite. The Jews that died in the Holocaust that were killed, many of them were also German Jews. You can still be Jewish and German. I don't think he thought that through. I assume he was just trying to, make a joke or something. All right. What else do we got on the docket? We'll talk about warp speed, but I really do want to watch this. This is a very good video. I don't think Trump himself is personally fierce. Oh, one other thing about Israel-Palestine. I saw this. I've played ball here before, by the way. It's a very nice facility.
All right. You can pump it as long as you say, today we stand here, we all care for humanity, good people, and we stand with Israel and all good people. So God bless America, God bless Israel, and we stand united for all good humanity. Amen.
This is lame as hell, bro. Okay? It's so goddamn lame to do this. Like, you don't got to do this, my man. You don't got to do this. I'm gonna keep it $150, brother. You are doing damage to your cause, okay? When you do stuff like this. This is what Israeli Hasbar has stooped to. Yeah, is that Xavier Sobeys? That's the one who walked away in the pink hoodie? That was Xavier Sobeys that walked away immediately when he started saying that? That's so awesome. I didn't know who it was. That's funny. Yeah. Respect. The youth are all right, dude. I'm invested now. Like, how do you not recognize that when you do this stuff, you're just like coming across as a clown? You're coming across like a loser. You're coming across like an annoying nuisance, and you're probably harming the pro-Israeli project more than you are saving it, It's like, oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm glad that you snuck that in there.
And we stand united for all good humanity. Amen. Shalom, shalom. Am Yisrael Chai. Chazak. Thank you guys. Round of applause.
Hold on, did he just say? No. What the fuck? I don't even know what he said. That's how. What did he just say? Nah, man. Free Palestine.
My goat. That's right.
I just got set up, man. I thought.
That's
he said
right.
picture, bro.
That's right. Nephew's all right. Nephew's the king. Respect to the nephew. That's just again, it's such a lame ass thing to do, bro. Like, what are you doing? You just got all these kids there, like they're young, like you're just locking them into this. Like, what a ridiculous thing to say. What a ridiculous thing to do. You're a whole ass adult. It's lame as hell. Like, it's lame as hell because, like, regardless of what you are signing people on board with in that regard, regardless of what you're signing people on board with, like, there's no assumption, right? There's no assumption from any of those guys that you're going to come up there and just be like, yeah, we're all pro-Israel, right? Yeah, respect. Let's go. That you just kind of brought that on them for no reason. You know what I mean? They didn't agree to it. You just brought them into this conversation. You don't know what their perspective is, right? It's just a very awkward situation to put people in. Max said this later.
Whatever y'all want to believe it. Don't let no one ever. Hey, chat, believe in whatever y'all want to believe it. Don't let no one ever try to push beliefs on you. Free Palestine. That's crazy. What do you say? I know. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Like I don't think these guys like have like fully well-established opinions on the situation, right? But even then, you just like ended up making them feel uncomfortable. Some more of their comments immediately after the end of this clip.
All right, and all good people, so God bless America, God bless Israel, and we stand united for all good humanity. Amen.
Everyone's calling him a weirdo, El Zionist forcing opinions. Free Palestine, that's so a weird ass owner.
Hey.
That's not what he said,
Shalom,
Matt.
shalom. Am Yisrael Chai.
He said shout it out.
He hit that.
What would Kanye do? I mean, nothing. I didn't. You don't got to say nothing. Yeah.
I don't know about what would Kanye do. You can come in. Hold on, I gotta open the door. Oh. What would Kanye do is crazy. 1 second, chat. I got my sodas and stuff. It's not tea, it's coffee.
He wanted us to say it. You don't got to say that. I booked the gym. Imagine, nigga, the gym doors just shut. I don't like when people. Yo, imagine the doors just shut. It's like, you want to play a game, nigga? This shit is giving me the chills, nigga. Hold on, watch this. I don't.
They're not gonna kill you, dude. That is funny though. Dude, Israel's PR is so in the pooper. It's crazy. Israel's PR is so in the dumps, dude. That's crazy. Jason knows more than you, Unk. He ghost wrote 100 Years War in Palestine. Is late in LA coffee will destroy your sleep routine? What are you talking about, man? It's like not even 10 yet. I'm guzzling coffee all morning. I'm trying to stay up. I'm kind of cooked. I'm not going to lie. If you had to guess what percentage of people under 30 are anti-Zionist, I mean, it's an incredible amount. It's legitimately shocking. And something that I never thought I would see in my life. And it is perhaps, little baby F, it is, I will say this much, it's one of the few things that has given me some semblance of hope about things changing around the world in general. Like, straight up. It sucks that so much death and destruction. Your viewers are weird, Jesus. Wait, why? It sucks that so much death and destruction happened in this process. It's unimaginable amounts of cruelty, but I think that I'm basically matching this off of what I know, like what I have seen in my lifetime, and I never ever in a million years would have ever thought that there would be this much public support for Palestine and Palestinians in general. Anyway. Let's get to some funny drama. Elon Musk is lashing out. Trump's staff is furious, but I don't think Trump himself is furious about it. But at first I thought it was Trump that was mad, but then I heard Trump's response. He doesn't care that much. But obviously AI, Trump is making big waves for a lot of these for a lot of these AI initiatives. They want to be the dominant force for AI around the globe. There's some very scary precedent. There's a very scary precedent there, I think, or there's a very scary reason for it, I think. Before people call me a Luddite, I already covered this. I believe that technological advancements are ultimately good. It's just that technological advancements in this vein are oftentimes created to displace the existing labor force. And I think that's what they're trying to make AI do. The problem is, of course, they really can't, because the AI tools that we have at our disposal so far are nowhere near as complex, or nowhere near as they're just nowhere near as good as the way people think they are, or the way that every AI evangelist claims it is. It's nowhere near the level of intelligence yet that it would necessitate to be able to actually displace wide swaths of the labor force. It also used a tremendous amount of power, obviously, and I've talked about that too. But it's kind of funny that everyone is yelling at Sam Altman for all of his previous lib posting on the platform. They're unearthing all of his older tweets. And I believe even Elon Musk got in on the fun a little bit too, which is crazy because Elon Musk himself was more actively anti-Trump more recently than Sam Altman. A lot of people, I think, forgot because of the shift, but Elon Musk literally wanted Ron DeSantis to be president. Okay? Elon Musk wanted Ron DeSantis to be president. He actually hyped him up, and he said Donald Trump's too old. He's too incompetent to be president. He sucks. And so the girls are fighting, but overall, I think AI as a tool is not necessarily a bad thing. But of course, all technological innovation under capitalism is going to be used to displace the existing labor force. One other note on the surveillance technology. One of the people that obviously one of the people that was formative in this AI investment launch that Donald Trump did was this guy, Larry Ellison of Oracle. And here's what Larry Ellison thinks is wonderful to use AI
police
for.
Will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording what's going on.
Because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras. It's AI that's looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be immediately, that's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off. It's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times. And the supervision will, and if there's a problem, AI will report the problem and report it to the appropriate authority.
Dude, I'm sorry. This is the most insane thing to say out loud. He's just admitting it. This is what I say. I'm supposed to say this, and then there's supposed to be Vox.com articles written about how hysterical people like me are for the surveillance, the future of surveillance tech with artificial intelligence, right? Liberals are supposed to turn around and be like, no, it's not like that. Here are the many benefits, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, this guy openly is like, we are your masters. We are going to constantly surveil you. You are going to be on your best behavior because of this constant surveillance. And we're going to immediately alert the authorities if you do something that we don't like. And that's the future you should look forward to. And he's just outwardly saying it. He's not, what is going on? It's kind of shocking that billionaires that are aligned with Donald Trump feel so comfortable to just openly admit that this is their intention. I don't get it. Is it autism? Is that what's going on? This guy's too autistic to realize that he's saying sounds terrifying? Is that what it is? What's happening? Like, he's just like, oh yeah, no, it's great. Everyone's going to be an NPC in the future. We're just going to monitor every single thing that you do. And also any matter of discontent will be dealt with through the proper protocols, through the authorities. And now it's way more efficient. There's more here. Hold on. He gets into another part here before this 1 minute and 44-second video ends. He's going to bring up drones too.
Whether it's the sheriff or the chief or whomever, we need to take control of the situation. We have, same thing. We have drones. We just, if there's something going on in a shopping center, and I'll stop. A drone goes out there, get there way faster than a police car. There's no reason for, by the way, high-speed chases. You shouldn't have high-speed chases between cars. You just have a drone follow the car. I mean, it's very, very simple. And the new generation of autonomous drones.
Great. I love that. I love having our autonomous drones monitor the activity of every individual. That sounds awesome. Who could take issue with such a thing? I hate that we are living in the future dystopia now with none of the benefits. No Suckmaster 5000 lifelike robots, no endless amounts of energy that isn't harmful to the environment. None of that, okay? No utopian currencyless, classless, moneyless, borderless society, obviously, of course not. No cyber technology that allows me to like jump over buildings if I see fit. None of that. Just the bad stuff. Just the constant surveillance and a more militant, more efficient, more robotic surveillance state. Yeah, great. This is movie stuff. He's talking about movie stuff, but like negative things in movies. It's kind of wild that he's talking about the negative aspects that you see in a movie of like a bad future, but he's talking about it positively. Saying this, and in the same breath will say that the cameras in China are too much or whatever. Yeah, this like implementation of programs like this also begin in places like Gaza and in places like West Bank. Speaking of China, China does have a system similar to this, okay? They do have constant surveillance, and they do also have AI implementation of constant surveillance. They utilize that in Xinjiang. Speaking of China, you know where else they utilize this technology? This Chinese technology? In the West Bank, of course. That's right. Just remember, before people say, Hassan, you never criticize China or whatever, okay? This technology, or a similar version, a more primitive version of this technology, is currently being implemented in the West Bank. And it's actually, the origination is Chinese, for the record. And they literally are, they sold it. They sold this tech to Israel. China did. Soon to be at your Amazon warehouses to monitor your efficiency, if it doesn't exist already. Oh, it's insane, It's just like so awful and so insane to think that this is a good thing, or to not be afraid of this. Constantly effing me, having mini Fs over and over again. What's happening, Japan? You're supposed to be better than this, Japan. It's not a major F, chat. Calm down. It's a mini F. Why do people say it's a major F when it's not? It literally goes in and out for a second. Am I crazy? Because it just goes completely black for like 1 second, maximum 2. Holy, I got scared because the entire screen went black. Complete darkness. I'm sorry, I left you alone. You are being gaslit, bro. 1 second without you is too long, King. True. Anyway, you lied on China. That's why Israel's working with America on the big tech project you mentioned. Really? Because I wasn't talking about the new AI tools that Google was rushing to sell to Israel's military. I never said that America is not trying to sell AI tools to Israel. I simply stated that China did implement AI-backed surveillance technology in the West Bank. They sold it. You should search that and you will find it. It's ironic because the American government, I believe, because it was like, because they were on their pro-Muslim arc against the Uyghurs, literally said that this was unacceptable. Yeah, Hikvision. There it is. Cameras made by Hikvision, which is blacklisted in the U.S., Blanket the occupied West Bank. What? Like, dude, you think I'm just, look, I'm honest. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know why you want me to, what your expectation is here. Anyway, hog vision in the US. But yeah, the girls are fighting. Our AI overlords are fighting. Also, we're going to talk about Elon Musk's Costco double down moment. Okay. We got that coming up too. But before we do that, I did want to talk about Donald Trump's involvement with Saudi Arabia real quick, because this is a really good video.
Presidential election. Donald Trump appeared at a UFC event, flanked by bullet-headed UFC CEO Dana White.
Bullet-headed.
And Elon Musk, who had just spent $270 million electing Trump. But there was another person there who wielded as much influence and wealth as pretty much anyone alive. Yasser al-Rumayyan, the head of the Public Investment Fund, the Saudi state-run sovereign wealth fund, which controls about $930 billion. Al-Rumayyan could claim some degree of ownership of practically everyone and everything around him that November night. From UFC, which was planning some splashy events for Saudi Arabia, to Elon Musk, whose companies had long been recipients of Saudi investment capital, and Trump himself, a stalwart Saudi ally whose political, economic, and family interests had come to depend on Saudi largesse.
It's clear that Saudi Arabia has been investing in Trump and Trump world for a long time.
I love the Saudis. Many are in this building.
Lobbyists representing the Saudi government paid for an estimated 500 rooms at President Trump's D.C. hotel.
The Live Golf Invitational.
The Saudi-backed golf tour.
At the Trump National Doral.
Have a good time, everybody. They buy apartments from me. They spend $40 million, $50 million.
Trump Tower, Jeddah.
Am I supposed to dislike them? I like them very much.
And foreign governments, they understand. They're dealing with the transactional president.
Crown Prince, thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
And now, as we head into a second Trump administration, the question is, what more do they want?
How would you describe the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia?
I think it's fine, but with me it will be G-R-E-A-T, great.
The host of the FIFA World Cup 2034 will be Saudi Arabia.
What we're seeing with Saudi Arabia is unprecedented because of the sheer amount of money that they put in.
Kareem Zidane is an investigative sports journalist.
They're investing in absolutely everything.
Al-Rumayyan's appearance at the UFC fight wasn't just about Trump. Sports have become a key part of Saudi Arabia's investment and influence peddling strategy. Kareem and his colleagues at...
I think this is a lot better, right? In terms of the background, I feel like this looks a lot better, right? Yeah, it's just like it was just too blasted. But I'll keep it on and when it's, dark out in the mornings, because I think it's a cool background. But this is like, it was too blown up. So turn it around, the sun in your face. No, the background, I wanted the background to look cool. But just join while you're streaming from an undisclosed location. I'm hiding from the authorities.
Play the game mapped over 910 sponsorships from Saudi entities in 2024 across the globe. There's the ownership of the Premier League's Newcastle United, the creation of Live Golf, a competitor to the PGA Tour, sponsorship for the Women's Tennis Association, backing Formula One's Aston Martin. There's MMA, esports, equestrianism, wrestling, cycling, billiards, and a potential new venture into boxing.
As a matter of fact, it might be easier to list the sports that Saudi Arabia hasn't invested in. Honestly, I can't think of one at the moment.
The Saudis would call it investing. Others call it sports washing.
Sports washing is the deployment of sports as a means of reputation laundering. When countries use sports and major sports events, for example, to distract from human rights abuses. When Saudi Arabia invests in sports, it's really looking for geopolitical influence. It's looking to recraft its own global image. It might not reap the most significant monetary returns, but I don't think that's what they're interested in from sports. They're looking at influence, and I think they're doing a damn good job about it, as much as I don't want to say that.
And this is happening with other Saudi investments too.
What's your take on the unabashed expansion of the Saudi Investment Fund into Silicon Valley?
In 2016, then Deputy Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, made a well-publicized trip to Silicon Valley.
The charm offensive. One of the things that he did also was get glazed up by The Atlantic. The editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, of course, is a former Israeli prison guard and was totally on board with the peace offensive, the charm offensive, as they called it.
By 2018, Saudi Arabia was the single largest investor in U.S. startups. But where was that money going, and what was it doing? Let me give you an example. Twitter. When Twitter was a public firm, the Saudi Kingdom Holding Company was its largest outside shareholder, owning a bigger part than even co-founder and longtime CEO Jack Dorsey. But it wasn't just a financial relationship, as I've covered in my reporting. Twitter has long been an important place for the Saudi government to propagandize on behalf of MBS's economic program, flood Saudi-related discussions with posts from pro-regime trolls, and track and harass dissidents, some of whom have been doxxed, arrested, and tortured. In 2014, Twitter's leadership learned that a key MBS advisor was running a spy ring inside Twitter's San Francisco headquarters. Twitter never publicly...
Under liberal control, by the way. Don't forget. Under liberal control, by the way. Make no mistake. Okay? Under a liberal administration, under liberal control, all of this was happening. So that's why you have to remember when I say why I say American foreign policy is uniparty, okay?
Accounted for its role in fostering the Saudi spy ring. Jack Dorsey enjoyed a chummy meeting with MBS just 6 months after the Twitter CEO had been told by the FBI that his company had an espionage problem. They weaponized their investment.
By the way, dude, I mean, okay, brief moment here. Even the Pepsi is cooler in Japan. Normal thing in Japan, Pog. Doesn't taste too bad either.
Used it to spy on, target, and harass critics. And they did it all without any consequences. And their investment continues today.
Let's fight.
So back to the fight. And another...
BDS? It's not BDS, man. Shut up. God damn, won't even let me drink my freaking awful version that got... The good thing, Diet Coke got banned, okay? Diet Coke is BDS, unfortunately, which sucks because I love Diet Coke. Now I'm drinking Pepsi and you're still yelling at me.
Another guest, Elon Musk. When Twitter went private under Musk, Kingdom Holding Company rolled its shares into the new private entity and became its second largest investor after Musk. But Twitter wasn't the only tech giant receiving backing from the Saudis. In April 2023, Hasanabi, the venture capital arm of the Saudi Public Investment Fund, did something surprising. It published a list of dozens of American venture capital and private equity firms it had partnered with, showing just how widely the kingdom's money was being spread around. Tech, AI, surveillance, media. But the influence purchasing campaign doesn't end in Silicon Valley.
I would like to bring up the CEO of Affinity Partners and former senior advisor to the White House, Jared Kushner.
That's Jared Kushner, the husband of Trump's daughter, Ivanka. He served as a senior advisor in the first Trump administration and was everywhere. And by all accounts, he had a lot of influence on his father-in-law. But he's known for one thing above all else.
It seemed as if from the get-go that Jared Kushner...
He's a brilliant mind, one of the top minds of statecraft here, okay? So good. Did you get billions of dollars from the Saudis? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Was charged with cultivating the relationship with the Saudis.
Virginia Cantor is Chief Ethics Counsel at Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington.
It appears to be that at the end of the administration, the payoff was a $2 billion investment in this investment fund.
Just months after leaving the White House in 2021, Kushner's newly minted investment group, Affinity Partners, secured a $2 billion commitment from the Saudi Public Investment Fund, or PIF. The news raised a lot of eyebrows.
Some next-level sleaze and grift going on right in front of our eyes.
This is just putting a price tag on American foreign policy.
I've been in this business 40 years. This is
Jake is just Islamophobic. That's why he's saying it. Make no mistake. Jake Tapper, the one time Jake Tapper is going to be against American interests is because one, it's Trump doing it, and two, because he's anti-Trump, and two, more importantly, it's because he's doing business deals with Muslims. He can't have that.
extraordinary, unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it.
The reason it was so egregious.
Jake Tapper's not even pro-Israel. He just hates Muslims. Like, he just comes across like he's pro-Israel because he's just genuinely hates Muslims so much. That's what it is.
He had no experience in that field.
The panel responsible for screening potential PIF investments reportedly voiced serious concerns about Kushner's lack of experience. But the board was overridden by MBS, the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia. That news raised even more eyebrows.
Isn't that a nice story of friendship? Things you do for your bros?
MBS proved to be a close ally to Kushner in the first Trump administration, working closely with him on various Middle East diplomatic negotiations. They worked so closely, in fact, that MBS reportedly told others he had Kushner in his pocket.
It appears to be a payoff based on Mr. Kushner's dealings with the Saudi government and particularly MBS during the Trump administration.
A Senate investigation found that Kushner's fund raked in $157 million in management fees, all while generating no return on investment for his clients. Jared, of course, sees no problems with the $2 billion transaction.
For my critics, what I say is point to a single decision we made that wasn't in the interest.
To my critics, I say, do you have $2 billion? No, I didn't think so. That's right. To my critics, I say, get your money up, not your funny up, okay? Sorry, shouldn't have been at the Istanbul embassy, okay? Wrong place, wrong time. Sometimes you get chopped up.
Of America.
Okay, I'll point to one. How about letting an ally kill a Washington Post columnist, Jared?
What was really troubling about the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, there was every indication.
Oh, whatever, dude. $2 billion again, $2 billion. Just saying, $2 billion.
That it was carried out by the Saudis.
Also, fake news. He was doing fake news. Who cares? Washington Post. This is ironic. This is funny because, like, this is also part of the reason why, you know, the Jeff Bezos MBS fallout happened too. Like, this is part of the reason why the Jeff Bezos MBS fallout happened. They were buddies. they were homies. And then MBS hacked his phone. MBS killed Jamal Khashoggi. Jeff Bezos was like, "What are you doing? That's a journalist that you just killed from my newspaper. You can't do that." And then MBS was like, "Hey, check this out." Boom. Pegasus software in your phone. All of a sudden, now the entire world's got your nudes, Jeffrey. Now your entire world's got the news, Jeffrey. Oh, you were trying to fuck on ladies. You were trying to cheat on your wife. Guess what? Now everybody knows. Okay? Now everybody knows. That leads to one of the most expensive divorces of all time, obviously, between Jeffrey Jebediah Bezos and his wife. It's just like a very funny chain of events that took place from the Jamal Khashoggi assassination. That, like, two homies, you hate to see two homies fall apart like this. You know what I mean? Over one critical assassination of an American journalist. Like, what? He's Saudi too, you know? Wait, that's why he was divorced? Yes. You want to know why you don't know about this? Even though it was, like, kind of mentioned in the media, Jeff Bezos literally did everything in its power to stamp it out. Okay? Every like newspaper, Daily Mail style newspaper that wrote about it had private investigators. Jeff Bezos was like, "Oh yeah, you're going to write about the story about, you know, all of this, all this embarrassing details. Guess what, dude? Have fun." He hired a private security contractor and literally monitored every single journalist and editorial staff member that dared to write about the story, which is part of the reason why there wasn't a lot of coverage on the story. I mean, it obviously got out there. It was a big deal. It's Jeff Bezos getting a fucking divorce after having a fallout with MBS and possibly having MBS, like, you know, literally hack his phone. But that's the reason why many of you are probably shocked and you're hearing about this for the first time ever. What a crazy story. Pegasus, of course, is the Israeli surveillance software that MBS used against Jeff Bezos, an American billionaire. And yeah, but since then, Jeff Bezos also got hit with the Dominican Ray, just like Mark Zuckerberg, and he's fine now. He's brolic. He trains. He's got his hot young thing. his age-appropriate wife, or not age-appropriate wife, age-appropriate girlfriend. You know, that's my goat, my king. What's NBS? MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, that guy right there. That guy who killed this guy right here.
Basically, you know, Kushner and President Trump gave a pass by virtue of not, you know, calling them out.
Because it's America first for me.
That definitely set the tone for how they were going to deal with human rights violations by the Saudis. And it wasn't just that, there were other incidents.
And the list is a long one. There is the use of his second presidential veto,
a resolution putting an end to the U.S. military involvement in Yemen,
allowing continued U.S. support to the Saudi-backed war in Yemen. There's his abandonment of the Iran nuclear deal.
The United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Saudi Arabia views Iran as one of its biggest enemies and, you know, was very much adverse to the Obama negotiated Iran nuclear deal. And, you know, that was disrupted as part of the Trump administration.
There's the $110 billion Kushner negotiated arms deal between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia.
There was a blockade involving Qatar.
The president today is siding with the Saudis. The crisis critical to the U.S. Qatar, home to a key U.S. base with 8,000 U.S. service members.
And so this
Did you hear about the Candace Owens and Nashville school shooting connection by chance? I know you've been wrapped up in Trump stuff and traveling. Not sure you saw it. Yeah, he was a black white supremacist whose brain has been warped by 4chan. And I think in his manifesto, he even made a mention of me, but failed to write my name correctly, thank God. And said he was radicalized by Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, me, Destiny, and also Markiplier and Mr. Beast. A lot of it is trolling. A lot of it is the trolls of an insane person. He basically mentioned like a bunch of YouTubers. No, I don't think it's fake. He said that he was backed by r/Markiplier. He was an extremely online kid who obviously was insanely mentally ill, and most likely actually trafficked in the same Discord servers that remember the Telegram group that we talked about? I think he was also part of that orbit a little bit. But yeah, he's was out of his mind and also very much like a insane 4chan groiper. Anyway, a black white supremacist. What is a groiper for us older viewers? It's just a term for extremely online Nazis, as they call themselves. It's kind of like the Pepe the Frog, but a different version of it, a modified version of it. How does the Telegram still exist? Probably 20 feds next to some school shooters. I don't understand how we just have no way. And he also live streamed the incident on Kick. I just don't understand how we have no way of dealing with like this level of like very obvious grooming happening by insane Nazis. And it's like international too. It is an international Telegram group called Telegram that straight up just grooms mentally ill people into doing like terror attacks like this. And meanwhile, the government is like invested in, I don't know, deporting students who are saying they're pro-Palestine. It's so psychotic to me that like you if you're a Nazi, you could just do whatever the fuck you want, dude. I swear to God. Like, it is actually insane that white nationalist neo-Nazis have done so many mass shootings now. So many. Nonstop. Like, at what point will the government go, hey, maybe we should, like, clamp down on this a little bit? Oh, black white supremacists not heard at all? Yeah, if you see the manifesto, you'll understand what I mean. He writes exactly like a person whose brain has been warped by 4chan and then I don't know, whatever subsequent Discord servers he went into to lose his mind completely. He says he calls himself the N-word with a hard R 1,000,000 times over, says like black people are inferior genetically and that he's embarrassed. He also calls himself an honorary Yakubian. Just an insane person. Let's continue. I'll get to it later.
is being interpreted in a new light since the 2021 investment from the Saudis to the one person who always has Trump's ear.
Is it both a reward for how Kushner guided the Trump administration's foreign policy regarding Saudi Arabia in the past administration? And does it look like a payoff for how he can influence President-elect Trump in his future dealings with the Saudi Arabia?
Kushner has said he won't take a formal role in the second administration, but reportedly...
Yaqub, Dr. Yaqub, in Nation of Islam ideology, it's Dr. Yaqub is a black scientist with a massive brain, and he invented white people and technology. It's ridiculous. Okay, come on. And that person is not being serious when they mention Yaqub. They're memeing, which is kind of crazy to say. It's trolling. Everything is trolling. These are like suicidal, nihilistic losers who have their brains completely broken by some semblance of community they get from neo-Nazi Discord servers who have nothing to lose at that point in their own estimation. And they turn around and you know, do insane stuff like this. Like he mentioned it multiple times where he was like, he wanted to kill himself, but then, you know, he thought this would be even better to do so. And now in the process, he shot 2 girls, killed one, and the other one is in critical condition. And it's wild because, like, after the first femcell shooter, people literally were like, hey, this guy is probably also going to do a shooting. You should look into this. There were people on Twitter that were like actively posting about this guy. At FBI, you guys going to do something or let this go under the fucking radar again? Unless every shooting is a psyop and planned under your control, then you guys should arrest this R word. This person says, responding to the guy who did another shooting. He's also Mercanius. Holy moly. Thank you for the 50 bomb. Jesus Christ. Let's finish this video and I'll get into it.
Looking to be an informal advisor on Middle East matters, and the investments in Trump world haven't stopped.
And the primary financial backer of Leave Gulf is the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And they engaged in deals with the various Trump golf courses. And it's pretty clear, you know, when you have his sons going overseas in this transition period to lock down deals, it's a way of signaling that Trump is open for business. And if you want to be favored, you better be first in line.
When you have someone like Trump, he tends to take the existing corruption in Washington
Cutie
and just turns it up to 11.
Matt Duss is Executive Vice President at the Center for International Policy.
Mohammed bin Salman, when he visited the Oval Office,
Thank
and
you
Trump
for the
pulled out
50
that
big
famous
ones.
poster with all the different weapons that were on sale as if it was, you know, the side of a good humor truck. Here are all the various ice cream and delicious treats that are on sale.
$3 billion, $533 million, $525 million. That's peanuts for you.
And that was funny, but it was also, I think, a great demonstration of how Trump...
Someone actually brought up a really interesting point. This is so infuriating. Right-wing conspiracy theories should be all over this shit. And that's a really interesting point that you just brought up. Right-wing conspiracy and all matter of conspiracy theories are bubblegum. They operate as a distraction, so you don't actually focus on the real actors conspiring, not in theory, but actually conspiring. This is it's alluring, it's interesting, but you find it very strange that conspiracy theorists oftentimes fail to comprehend the real conspiracy happening right in front of their eyes. I mean, even think about capitalism. Think about capitalism. You can sell the concept of capitalism as a conspiracy theory if you wanted to, but it's not enough. People don't want to operate on the assumption that people are just motivated by self-interest and the system is designed to churn out these results, and that all of these dealings are not happening behind closed doors, but instead happening in broad daylight in front of your eyes at Davos, at the World Economic Forum, and places like that. But that's the whole point of conspiracy theories in general. Okay? It operates as a distraction from the actual people conspiring. That's it. And also, I mean, there's obviously like partisan partisan zealotry at play here as well. What do I mean by this? Think about Donald Trump having the Oracle CEO talk about doing mRNA vaccine research with AI. Why are people not yelling about that? Why are the anti-vaxxers freaking out about that? That's crazy. Donald Trump, who also was responsible for Operation Warp Speed, mind you.
Think about this. It's just a relationship based on, okay, what are you going to buy from us? What are we going to get from this?
Since 1945, the Saudi-U.S. relationship has been defined by a superpower's willingness to overlook pretty much anything its oil-rich ally did. The U.S. got another military foothold in a sensitive region and influence over global energy markets. But this alliance between an unmatched global hegemon and a repressive theocracy has corrupted both sides.
I mean, there were problems with this relationship going back many years, just as there are more deep-seated problems in the way our foreign policy and our policy in general is formulated. The various avenues of influence that very, very wealthy interests have. And I think the influence that the Saudi regime has been able to garner is a reflection of that much bigger problem.
And they are exercising that influence, especially in their efforts to secure a U.S.-Saudi defense pact.
Securing an agreement in which the United States committed and guaranteed to protect Saudi Arabia, it's a sign of approval from a global superpower. It's a kind of normalization, of Saudi Arabia to say that you're just another normal country, and this is how normal countries behave.
Saudi Arabia has worked hard during the Biden administration to secure a defense pact with the U.S., despite Biden's promises to get tough on the Saudis.
Make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are.
They came close to getting it.
And I think we're going to see that kind of approach continuing, essentially trying to bid up the United States to get as much out of the United States in terms of commitments and support into the future. Would the United States get anything that's remotely worth a commitment of sending young American women and men to defend this regime? I think the answer.
By the way, this is why partially why I was saying, like, is Jover, like, there's no combating like sports washing. You can cry into the wind, you know. What percentage of viewers are hate watchers? Probably not that big of a percentage.
There is clearly no.
As the second Trump administration begins, with all of its financial ties to the country, what more could be on the table for Saudi Arabia?
Certainly we should be aware.
Bro, they're getting nukes, okay?
Of the acute danger of Saudi influence in a Trump administration. But ultimately, if we really want to solve this problem, we need to understand that it goes much deeper and is much more longstanding than just with Trump.
These billions pouring into sports leagues, entertainment companies, tech firms, what does it actually buy?
We've become very good friends over a fairly short period of time.
It appears to buy influence.
We are with Saudi Arabia. We're staying with Saudi Arabia.
It buys silence.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It buys power.
Deputy Crown Prince, thank you very much. Great day and great honor.
What price did we really pay? What price did the world pay?
And now it's time to keep our eyes on just what it could buy in a second Trump administration.
We really have a great friendship, a great relationship, and I think we'll probably only get better.
Big mistake from More Perfect Union. Just one mistake. I don't recall seeing the orb photo. Did they post that in there? Because I feel like if they did, they should have posted it more frequently throughout the video. Because I think that's like one of the most insane things that has happened in the Trump administration that I thought was really funny. They should have just plastered it throughout, randomly just going back to it. You know what I mean? Randomly going back to the orb. Not enough orb photos, but other than that, fantastic coverage. A lot of friends of the show were on it too, which is interesting. Anyway, the orb photo. Oh, come on, dude. You haven't seen the orb photo? What? Are we crazy? How have you not seen the orb photo, man? What are you talking about? Bro, you've never seen this? This is the first time you're seeing this? This is from the first administration, the first time Trump was president. So awesome, dude. It quite literally is like they're visiting Saruman, leave him alone. I love this. It's so villainous. The aura is so villainous. Oh, speaking of which, by the way, in the process of Elon Musk doubling down, tripling down, a lot of funny things have occurred. Here, we're going to talk about that. As you guys know, the ADL, Apartheid Defense League, immediately defended the apartheid. No matter who's defender of apartheid, the ADL is there to do PR for you. And they said, this is a delicate moment. If you recall, after Elon Musk Sig Heiled, not once, but twice, on a massive stage on Trump's inauguration, they defended him because they're, well, I guess, you know, they're open about their bankruptcy. Another person that ran to Elon Musk's defense was genocidaire, Nazi himself, Benjamin Netanyahu. He wrote a long piece on Twitter. Elon Musk is falsely being smeared. Elon is a great friend of Israel. He visited Israel after October 7th massacre in which Hamas terrorists committed the worst atrocity against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. He has since repeatedly and forcefully supported Israel's right to defend itself against genocidal terrorists and regimes who seek to annihilate the one and only Jewish state. I thank him for this. Okay, which is really cool because Benjamin Netanyahu saying that this person is not a Nazi is just further evidence that he definitely is a Nazi. Okay, Benjamin Netanyahu is a genocidal fascist who famously did Holocaust revisionism. For those of you who don't know, he very famously once said, Hitler didn't want to kill the Jews. It was actually the Palestinian Grand Mufti that convinced Adolf Hitler to kill the Jews. Hitler just wanted to transfer the Jews, do a population transfer for the Jews, which is so crazy and so untrue because Hitler was very open about wanting to kill the Jews. Okay, so that's number one. But yeah, you got Satan Yahoo over here, wanted by the International Criminal Court for doing a genocide, being like, yeah, no, this guy's not a Nazi. But what's additionally funny is that Benjamin Netanyahu is also very famously aligned himself with out and about right-wing reactionary nationalist and anti-Semitic figures all over Europe. So that's why this doesn't, like, this post from Benjamin Netanyahu proves the exact opposite of what he was trying to do. If you are even remotely familiar with Benjamin Netanyahu's game, then you should immediately go, oh, this is further evidence that this motherfucker might be a Nazi. Okay? Anyway, so that's funny. But hey, guess what? Elon Musk, being the troll that he is, has been nonstop doubling down, tripling down. But before we get to that, there was one person, Sam Kuffel, a meteorologist for a local news station, that actually criticized Elon Musk's Sig Heiling on her social media account, on her personal social media account. She got fired for that, which is really interesting to think because here's Elon Musk. If you are unfairly treated by your employer due to posting or liking something on this platform, we will fund your legal bill. No limit. Please let us know. I wonder if Elon Musk will fund her legal bill. Probably not. Elon Musk has since then posted an endless amount, okay? The recommendation algorithm on this platform sucks. I want to talk to the manager right now. He's trolling. If I see one more damn Nazi salute in my feed, I'm going to lose my mind. This algorithm sucks. Okay? Oh, I don't even care. I don't even care about you guys constantly posting me Sig Heiling. I don't care at all. Except he also, once again, like I said, doubled down, tripled down, did the quintuple down, okay? KFC double down style. All right, let's take a look at what, he posts so much. But here, let's take a look at what some of the things he posted about him not being a Nazi, definitely. Okay? He's Austrian, too, talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is really gross for him to say that about, especially Arnold, who has openly talked about his father, or his grandfather, I believe, or was it his father, and his ideology and how disgusted he was by it. He posted this 9 minutes ago. If I see one more damn Nazi salute in my feed, I'm going to lose my mind. 22 minutes ago. Did anyone accuse President Macron of being a Nazi? He said, seriously? Okay. Where is it? Oh, in between, he posted about South African farmers are in grave danger now that the expropriation bill has been signed into law. Land can now be confiscated with no compensation. He's talking about, he's defending the white South African farmers in between. The allegations that he's not a Nazi. Okay. Where is the thing that I wanted to find? Oh, he was doing Nazi puns. Here it is. Don't say Hess to Nazi accusations. Some people will Goebbels anything down. Stop gurring your enemies. His pronouns would have been he/Himmler. Bet you did not see that coming. Good one, bro. You're killing it.
Damn, this guy's good.